Okay. Sheesh. We get everything. Yep. All right, y'all. What's good, y'all? What's good, y'all? What's good, man? Can y'all hear me out there? I think y'all can hear me. Let's get the show started. With no further ado, what's good, y'all? What's good, y'all? What's good, y'all? What's great? Thank y'all for tuning into another episode of Can the Brothers Get a Rap podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Lovechild, and I want to thank y'all for tuning and tapping in every Sunday, every Wednesday, and it means the world to me that y'all continue to support and show love. We're on the road to 20,000 subscribers. We're a little over 14, so again, thank y'all for y'all support. Each and every episode I do drop videos daily, so always look out for those. Continue to engage. The engagements have been going up and through the roof. I do get in those comments, especially if your comments is hitting on something, even if you don't agree with what I say or what I do within what I'm talking about. I still will give my my back and forth, as long as it's based out of logic. If you're trolling, obviously I won't respond to anything like that. I just think that's that's wild, nasty business when people out here just trolling. So y'all know how I do. I want to thank the presenting sponsor of this podcast, which is Button Snaps, where you get the finest of movies, shows, documentaries, and original content for your viewing pleasure of $4.99. I want to thank everybody out there for the great birthday wishes. My birthday was actually yesterday. Big can July 18th. Had an amazing birthday, had a great time. And I want to thank everybody for all the well wishes today, the day before, the day after. So again, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. So yeah. What else I got going on? And remember, y'all, do not be an agent of chaos. Do not be a stain. Do not try to stand out by being negative. Have the ability to stand out by being positive. Lose that Willie Lynch mindset. Lose that it can only be one mindset. The only op we recognize over here is opportunity. Hate has a location. It's just not here. And let's get the show started. With no further ado. Y'all already know, first segment of the night, popular opinions. Y'all already know these are not my questions. These are the world's questions. So stick to the answers in the questions. I'm missing my stuff tonight. I'm missing a couple of things I thought I had in front of me. All right, y'all. So this segment is brought to you by OUV Records. Make sure you go to Instagram at OUV Records and stay in tune to the latest latest music and merchandise. The label motto is create, document, and inspire. Again, that's OUV Records on Instagram. All right, y'all. First question of the night. Y'all already know how this goes. Start your NFL franchise. Again, the question is start your NFL franchise. All time. This is all time. So there's no wrong answer. It's just what you rather start your franchise with. I already know who I'm going with when I look at this. Number one, Jerry Rice. Reggie Miller. Reggie White. Number two, I know y'all, somebody gonna say, oh, I didn't know Reggie Miller played football. Yeah, it was a typo, right? So again, number one, Jerry Rice and Reggie White. Number two, Tom Brady and Deion Sanders. Number three, Barry Sanders and Lawrence Taylor. Number four, Randy Moss and Aaron Donald. Again, let me know what y'all think in the chat. Again, let me know what y'all think in the chat. And a quick shout out to the chat. My bad, y'all. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to Hazel. Shout out to Tremont. I'm not gonna say everybody, but shout out to y'all in the chat. Thank y'all. Shout out to King Prince. Big badge holders, had his badge for over 2 years. Thank you for that, for the love. Culture in the building, Ebony. Appreciate y'all. And thank y'all for the well wishes and happy birthdays. Thank you. Thank you, y'all. All right, y'all. So again, who would you rather start your franchise with? Number one, Jerry Rice and Reggie White. Number two, Tom Brady and Deion Sanders. Number four, no, number three, Barry Sanders and Lawrence Taylor. Number four, Randy Moss and Aaron Donald. Let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Again, let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Me personally, again, there's no wrong answer when it comes to football and the pantheon of where these guys at football wise. These guys are great players, and to me, this is all preference based on who would you start your team with, and of course, this is all time. Jerry Rice and Reggie White is undoubtedly franchise builders. If y'all know Jerry Rice, he's a worker, and he's every day he's trying to grind. Reggie White, same thing, phenomenal athlete, phenomenal player. And to me, I don't see there's not a wrong answer on this. If you say Randy Moss and Aaron Donald, you know what you're getting on both sides of the ball. This is going to be absolutely spectacular. Me personally. When you think of Barry Sanders and Lawrence Taylor, I won't argue with anybody. Lawrence Taylor is the best defensive player we've ever seen, probably the best NFL player we've ever seen. I've said he's the best NFL player we've ever seen, in my opinion, is Lawrence Taylor. And then you get Barry Sanders on the other side of that, Mr. Shifty Shakem himself. But my personal preference, I'm going with Tom Brady and Deion Sanders, mainly being out of this group because one, I'm getting the most important position, satisfied, which is the quarterback position. And you get a guy like Tom Brady who is about precision, grind, and is about winning. That's who I want at my quarterback spot. And then, and mind you, there's other great quarterbacks I also would have all time in the NFL as far as on my team, right? But then you got Deion Sanders on the other side of that, who's a cornerstone in pass defense. Yeah, he'll get in there and make a tackle if he has to, but he literally shuts down one side of the field. He literally does. And not to mention, he's great in special teams too. He's also great at receiver. If you throw him at receiver, a nice package, 15, 20 plays a game, it's going to get explosive. So me personally, I got Tom Brady and Deion Sanders, me personally, on this list. In the chat, I'm seeing a mix of answers. I'm seeing 2 and 4. So I'm seeing Tom Brady and Deion Sanders, I bet. And I'm seeing Randy Moss and Aaron Donald. I'm not mad at that either because, again, this is preference based. You choose a guy like Randy Moss, he's a every down threat on your team. He could go get it downfield. He could get a 2-yard hitch and take it downfield. He could run middle routes. He could run short routes. I mean, come on, like Randy Moss will give it to you how you want it. So, and then you got Aaron Donald, who's dominant and is a game wrecker. So I'm not mad at that as well. So again, I went for Tom Brady and Deion Sanders to start my franchise all time. The chat, it was a mix between Tom Brady, Deion Sanders, and Randy Moss and Aaron Donald. The rest of the world at 37%, mind y'all, over 121,000 people voted on this, y'all. Went with Barry Sanders and Lawrence Taylor. I'm not mad at that. Like, people don't realize how great Lawrence Taylor was. Lawrence Taylor was so good. Lawrence Taylor played linebacker, y'all. He was a linebacker, and they created a position where he could do absolutely anything he wanted on the defense on any given play, and they called it a monster back. He wasn't even a linebacker. He wasn't an outside linebacker, inside linebacker, middle linebacker. He was a monster back. That means he could do whatever he wanted to do within the concept of the defense. And he was so good at stopping the run, getting to the quarterback, so much to the point where he made 2 positions famous: pass rushing and being a left tackle. So, I'm not mad at that. And Barry Sanders, y'all know how Barry Sanders give it up. Just type in those highlights with Barry Sanders. For real. The closest thing we got to Barry Sanders today is probably Saquon Barkley. And Saquon Barkley is great. He got hands. He's shifty. He's a bigger version of probably Barry. Barry was probably like 5'8" at best, 200 pounds. And if you go back, you see Barry Sanders in his prime, he was a problem. So, again, I'm not mad at that. Again, shout out to y'all in the chat. Hit them likes, y'all. Hit them 100s. It does help with the growth of the show. Remember, y'all, we on the road to 20,000 subscribers, and we're a little over 14. So, again, I appreciate the love each and every episode. Again, if this is your first time tuning in and tapping in, I am Ashley Lovechild. Moving on to our next popular opinion question. Best sexual experiences. Best sexual experiences. Number one, in college. Number two, in the workplace or at the workplace. Number three, club, like clubbing, like, you go clubbing, right? Four, in the streets. You just, you know what I'm saying? You in the streets and you just get motion. It can happen any and everywhere in the streets. You meet a woman in the streets, hey, what's popping? And you know what I'm saying? So let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Again, let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Shout out to y'all in the chat once again. Again, the question is best sexual experiences. Number one was college. Number two is the workplace. Number three, clubs, like, going to club or clubbing. Or number four, just in them streets. Let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Again, let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. College is like a wild place. I'm not even gonna lie to you. College, when I was in college, it was a wild time. It was a wild time. And the college that I went to, one of the colleges I went to, they gave us a free laptop and a free cell phone. And at the time when we was in college, they had these chirps. So you didn't really need a girl's number at the time. It was just like, hey, like, shoot me your chirp. And it was easy to shoot a woman your chirp. And that made the game easy. Y'all talk about social media, and mind you, social media was just like coming out around that time. Like, we just got MySpace at the time, but we wasn't using as a dating thing. We was using the chirps, and that was going crazy. I will say that. So college was a wild time, and college is college. College have a lot of drunk and drinking nights and party nights and the the organized stay-ins, they have like the big stay-in where everybody stay in the same building for the night or whatever. So college is like a place designed to be interactive with the opposite sex, right? You got the workplace. The workplace, people get it cracking at the workplace. I mean, you find some motion at your workplace if you're half decent looking. I'm just saying, like, where I'm workplace, it goes crazy. Clubbing, I'm not surprised because clubbing, it gets crazy with the club atmosphere too. That's why people do like to go to the club, do like going to the bars. So I'm not mad at that as well. And in the streets, people get it. Me personally, I'm going to say in the streets. Mainly being is because I met a lot of women just in passing. That's why I say in the streets, not street workers or hookers or no, we're not talking about that. Nah. I'm talking about me personally. I met a lot of women just in passing, whether it was in the store somewhere, um, in a mini mart, in a restaurant, just somewhere. I'm just from an era of guys where when we see a nice looking woman, we go after her. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna say something just to see what she gonna say. The worst they could say is no. So me personally, I shot my shots. You know what I'm saying? So me personally, I'm gonna say in the streets was my best sexual experiences because that's why I met a lot of beautiful women and it led to other fun stuff. So I'm not mad at that. 16,000 people voted on this, y'all. Mind y'all, 45%. So this was kind of like head and shoulders of this. 45% went with work. They went with the work. So work, like I said, at work experience, people do get it cracking. I remember any of the jobs I've ever had, like for real, there's probably like one place I didn't crack off because it was nothing but dudes in there, like literally. And the one lady that did work there, she worked like in the front, and she was an old lady, and you know what I'm saying, we ain't doing that, right? And I mean, she was really old, like it was like nah, right? But every job outside of that I ever had, and working with women, I ain't mad at this answer. It's 45%. Mind y'all, 16,000 people voted on this, so I'm not mad at that. Me personally, though, I did say the streets. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to King Prince in the chat. Shout out to Keesaw in the building. Appreciate you for tapping in. He said, laughing my ass off in the streets too. Yeah, I'm gonna say in the streets. I'm just talking about from my own experiences. It was definitely in the streets for me. Just meeting different women in passing. You know, yeah, it could have been on a train, or she walking out of the train. This shit, when I started driving in traffic, like New York, you just have to be there. You know what I'm saying? New York is probably having the craziest summer right now. The way New York is right now, it used to be like that back in the early 2000s. Like from like early 2000s, New York was like, it was like that. So the energy is back in New York right now, but it used to be like that back in the early 2000s for sure. All right, y'all, moving on to our next segment, our barbershop talk. So our barbershop talk for this episode of Manja, I was in the barbershop last night, and it was my birthday. They had like a little shindig at the barbershop. Shout out to D, my dog Devin. He had a nice little shindig, invited me to come through. And it was, it was a nice, situation going on. It was a nice situation. So shout out to my dogs down at the barbershop. So the barbershop talk for this episode is uh, NBA player Big Baby, former NBA player Big Baby Davis, Glenn Davis, says that athletes can't get a regular job after they go broke. Um, he said that he said that on stream to, I believe, Adrian Broner, and I was a bit taken back by that because sports and playing sports is designed for you to get your ass a regular job when you finish, unless you was great. If you was great, they design jobs for great players, right? Let's be real. If somebody's great, they create a job where this player is still with the team. He could be, liaison, special analyst. They will create a position when a player is great after he leaves the NBA or after he's finished playing. If the team that you're with doesn't design something like that for you, your expertise is basketball. Why can't you get into scouting? Or why can't you get into coaching? It should be simple, and oddly enough, for an NBA player who played the game for so long, or even for 4 or 5 years, just the fact that you made it to the league, you have so much wisdom, knowledge that you could give to the younger players coming through. So it's designed for you to get a regular job because one, you was in school. Two, you have some sort of education if you chose to finish or not. But at the end of the day, you don't need to finish school at school. So what do that mean? Most NBA players today who are really good, they go after their freshman, sophomore year, right? So what do that mean? You could finish college courses at home. You could do it online and still play in the NBA, still play in the NFL. So the fact that he said that's, in my opinion, and the barbershop agree with me, it was a cop out. It was a cop out. You're not trying to be the best version of yourself because you're putting in a level of no accountability on striving for your goals. What are we talking about? You get the best of both worlds. You get a chance to be a superstar athlete, and when it's over, let's keep it real. You just don't go into the real world. You have assets. You have resources. You have people. If you was good to them in your career, will look out and say, hey man, I know about this job over here. It doesn't pay you millions of dollars, but it's a good living. It will pay you a 6-figure salary. So if an NBA player goes from making millions and can't submit to the new ways of getting money like 6-figure jobs, then that's an ego thing. Because guess what? Most people in today's economy don't make 6 figures. So the fact that you have assets, the fact that you have allies, you have resources, you have colleagues, people that you work with, people that are coaching, people that are uh, podcasting. They doing something that is conducive or in conjunction of what you know or what your expertise is for you to work a job. It doesn't have to be millions, but if you make anywhere from 75,000 and up, it's a good life. Especially, like, let's keep it real. All y'all players are not living in New York City. All of y'all not living in Cali. A lot of y'all living in the South, where places where it's very easy to maintain a living if you have constant income. So for me, to me, that's just a simple cop out in my opinion. So when I heard him say that, it's all ego related. It's all ego related. You know how many actors that's in big movies, that's been a part of big productions, they have to get a regular job because one, jobs don't come every day in acting. Two, if you're not eight actors, because only really for real 8 actors in that we have right now really have deals. So what that means is you may have 8 actors that have like a 4 picture deal, 5 picture deal with a studio. Make sure that they paid regardless. So at the end of the day, most actors don't have that. So that's why you hear most actors like, yo, it's a struggle out here. Like once I do a movie, I got bills that I had accumulated and I got new bills and I gotta hold on to my money because I just never know when I'm gonna work again. And some people have to get real jobs. So that doesn't alleviate your skill. That doesn't alleviate how great you are, but you're dealing with the reality. So him saying that this is just all ego based, in my opinion, like that just sound crazy because again, like I said from the beginning, you have resources, you have colleagues, you have assets. Where again, it doesn't have to be a 7 figure job because guess what? Those jobs are designated for great players. When you look at uh, inside the NBA. Now I could be saying the wrong one, but when you look at Charles Barkley, when you look at Kenny the Jet Smith, when you look at Draymond Green, Reggie Miller, I'm just naming guys who were great in their time, and they have these jobs because they're great. They even designing something for Michael Jordan when he's actually going to come back and do commentary in the NBA. He's supposed to do like 25 games in this upcoming season. So again, like, and even if you don't do the commentary stuff, you could do other things because you have assets. And I don't want to keep regurgitating, but I just felt like that was all ego based. Felt like you too big for the program. So what would make sense? You getting a regular job, being respected, being revered by the people that you work with. Like, man, like you do a great job here, but damn, how cool as it was to play in the NBA instead of walking around with that shame, but like, yeah, now I'm broke and I'm like everybody else. Yeah, that's the thing about people in that ego. They think money is the ultimate divider. No, your principles and your values is the ultimate divider. If you use money to separate yourself from other people because you think you're better than them, then that's a problem. That's a problem. So I think this is sheer out of ego. Shout out to the chat. They going in the chat. Shout out to Esau. He said it's not that they can't get a regular job. It's their pride won't let them. See, I agree. Shout out to Keesaw. Imagine going from making 30 million to clocking into a 9 to 5 where people recognize you every single day. There's no shame in putting food on the table. There's no shame in that. I don't know why we have this thing as a culture where it's shame on putting food on the table. I remember back when I was becoming an artist. This was like mid 2000s. This was like 07, 08, like late 2000s. I'm bugging. Like I was just like really becoming an artist. And I was working as a bartender. And I liked working as a bartender. I was making really good money. I got access to women. I got access to a club if I want to do a video. If I wanted to do a show. If I wanted to do anything, I have a home base. So I really took that and made it work for me opposed to making it seem like it was shameful. Putting food on the table is not shameful, never shameful. And then I went through a period where I learned how to make money off my music. Not a period. That period has a start and an end. But meaning a period where I just took my time just to learn the music business. And once I learned the music business, I was always able to make my money in my music. I remember when I had a couple of majors that wanted to sign me, and I sat down with a lawyer. He said, "Look, I don't work for them. I work for you. Now, would you rather stay independent and share six figures one way, or would you rather go major and share seven figures 20 ways?" Learn the music business. And once I did that, I made it work for me. So, with that being said, that ego and not allowing yourself to get caught up in the ego, putting food on the table is never not a flex. If you go broke, you didn't do the due diligence. You got to eat that one on the chin. What, are you going to stop living life? You're going to pack it up because you don't have these millions anymore? And this is why I say money's not real, because regardless of how much money you make or don't make, it doesn't change who you are. It just exacerbates the person who you already are inside. If you love sneakers as a broke individual, guess what you're going to do when you get 20 million? You're going to buy more sneakers. You're going to buy the upper echelon of sneakers. You're going to get you a pair of sneakers that's so crazy because that's just what you do. That's just what you like. So I just find it very interesting that people ego get in the way of their own success, because it could be a blessing in the sky. It takes an insane amount of mental humility to swallow that ego, but get a job when you have bills to pay. Yeah, you got bills to pay. There's no ego in paying your bills, because guess what? When them bills hit, your ego, like, it's nothing worse as a grown man than not being able to pay your bills. So you got to put your pride to the side, especially that, like, there's no diss to that though. If you played in the NBA and you've gone broke, can people really? The only thing people could diss you about is that you ruin an opportunity on your financial space. That's the only ridicule people would have, but people really can't dish you. You've seen things, done things that people, and you experience things that other people just don't have a clue on what you did. So there's no diss to that. Like, I just never understood that, me personally. So I just think it's all ego based, and that's my barbershop talk. Excuse me, and that's my barbershop talk for this episode. All right, y'all, moving on to our next segment. I'm gonna give y'all a fire must hear artist on your playlist, my Michael Jackson award. So my profile artist for tonight, it reminds y'all, doesn't matter if it's new or old, hip hop, R&B, gospel, reggae. I'm gonna just give y'all some fire music and a fire artist. So my profile artist for tonight is Montel Jordan. If you know, you know. So my first Michael Jackson award goes to his song I Like It, excuse me, featuring Slick Rick. Excuse me, I said I like it. I like featuring Slick Rick. My second Michael Jackson award goes to his song Don't Keep Me Waiting. Fire song. Put these songs on your playlist, y'all. And my third final Montel Jordan song, that's my third Michael Jackson award, is Let Me Be the One. Put these on your playlist, fellas. Thank me later. Trust me. Again, Montel Jordan. And again, my three Michael Jackson awards goes to his song I Like, featuring Slick Rick, Don't Keep Me Waiting, and Let Me Be the One. So make sure y'all put those three songs on your playlist by Montel Jordan's fire songs. All right, y'all. Moving on to our next segment. I'm missing my signs, y'all. I'm missing my signs for tonight. So my next segment, y'all already know what time it is. We're about to get on that flight, and it's send them to Turkey or no, send them to Turkey or no. Type in T to send it to Turkey, or type in N not to send it to Turkey. Let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Again, send them to Turkey. When people say, for those who are new on the show, for when people say and do something crazy, we send them a turkey, or we might not send them a turkey. So again, let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Again, this is episode 276. I'm Ashley Lovechild, and this is the Can the Brothers Get a Rap podcast. And I appreciate y'all for tuning and tapping in. All right, y'all. First one of the night. A 15-year-old and a 16-year-old teens, a couple, methodically unalive 5 relatives of the girl, her her family, because her mother pulled her out of school and switched her to home classes. Again, this is a better way to put it. A teenage couple methodically unalive the relatives of the girl because her mother pulled her out of school and switched her to home classes. Let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Are you sending it to Turkey or not? Type in T to send it to Turkey. Type in N not to send it to Turkey. Shout out to y'all in the chat holding it down. But like, what's going on in the household today? Like, we have this thing when things like this happen, we automatically put it on the parents. Like, yo, what is that parent doing to that child where they want to do something crazy to them or leave or run away from home? There's no book to parenting. And once kids become teenagers, they become assholes. I have to be honest. They become assholes. They don't want to hear no. And everything that you say and do, you're wrong. Like you never was a teenager, like you don't understand. And communication is a big part of raising your children, right? There's a difference between, and I say this all the time, the intent and the lesson that they were supposed to learn. This in particular is straight nasty work. This is straight nasty work. It's not hard for me to believe that they went on this spree of unaliving her relatives because they pulled her out of school. She no longer have access to him, and they're probably having sex. And she probably think he's the most important young man that she will ever meet in her entire life. She probably think he's end all be all, and he probably thinks the same. Because when you're in junior high school, and you have a girlfriend, you don't think past your neighborhood. You don't think past the city at best. Not knowing if you're going to experience different things in your life, which you will, and you're pigeonholing yourself from different experiences. Now, there are some experiences where people have been childhood sweethearts, junior high school. Those are the exceptions to the rule, right? But at the end of the day, most teenagers think the person that they with, they're going to be with them forever. And it's not always the case. So to me, when I hear this, I'm sending these people to Turkey, might I add. I'm sending them to Turkey. I'm sending these teenagers to Turkey. For sure. For sure. In the chat, they sending it to Turkey. Shout out to King P, one of our big day ones, one of our big bad holders. But at the end of the day, again, people always like to put these things on the parents. And as a parent, there's no book to it. And people that have the most advice for parenting is people that don't have any kids. It's like, oh, but I raised, such and such. No, you didn't. Anytime you don't brunt the anytime you don't brunt the responsibility for a child, then you did not raise them for real. So it kills me when somebody say, well, I raised my brothers growing up. I watched my brothers growing up. I watched my sisters growing up. Was your parents around? Yes, but they was at work. Then you did not raise them. You did not raise them because you don't brunt the responsibility of those kids. If your parents was around and you was at home watching your brothers or your sisters, and God forbid something was to happen, you don't brunt the relationship. You don't brunt the responsibility. They will be like, yo, where your mama at? Where your daddy at? Oh, they at work. And they left you here? Oh, no, your parents would brunt the responsibility. And that's the difference. So I don't want to hear nobody in the chat talking about, well, yeah, I raised such and such. If you don't brunt the responsibility, then you did not raise them. That's just how it worked. You was around. You did what you were supposed to do. You the oldest. You make sure that nobody's playing with matches and plugging in stuff so they don't get electrocuted. But you did not raise them. So it kills me when people say that, for real. But again, I gotta send both of these kids to Turkey. I believe the young man is being charged as an adult as well. They did release his name. Shout out to the chat. Keesaw is on it. Shout out to Keesaw in the building, man. Appreciate you for tapping in. He's sending it to Turkey as well. Jameer Davis is rightfully being tried as an adult on 12 criminal counts, including first degree and dismembering a human body. Wow, that is crazy. Can you imagine two teenagers being that upset where unaliving you is not enough? They have to dismember your body. Where do you get that shit from? Where do you get that shit from? Like, to me, that is nasty work. If you are mature enough to methodically plan a mass execution across 3 different crime scenes, you are mature enough to face life sentence. I agree. Shout out to Keesaw in the building. Appreciate you for tapping in, my guy. Remember, y'all, hit them likes, hit the 100s. It does help with the growth of the show. But I definitely agree. And where all this rage come from, like, that amount of rage can't just come from taking you out of school and making you homeschool. That's just a rage of not being able to get what you want when you want it. And there's a level of manipulation that's going on that now it affects the rest of their life. Like, honestly, I hope this kid go to jail for life. For life. He should be tried as an adult. Can you imagine if he systematically, if he thought about this, like, yo, we do this, yo, we're gonna get off because, yo, I'm only 16. They'll try me, as a minor, and I get off in 2 years. Nope. Get tried as an adult, go away for life. You can't have people like this in our society. Like, straight up, can't. And same thing for her. Can't have her. She should be tried as an adult as well. She's 15 years old, and that's the reason why they didn't release her name yet. But she still should be tried as an adult and go away for life. I like, whether you planned it, whether you gaslighted it, you still played a major part, and your mindset made you feel like that was an actual thing to do. Like, that was an actual option to unalive your people. And mind you, this is her people that got unalived. So at the end of the day, try both of these miscreants as adults and put them away for life. You can't have people like that in the society. I just got to be honest with you. All right, y'all, moving on to our next Send Turkey or no. Mount Vernon uncle unalive his niece over the niece being left a house by the grandmother. Let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Again, a Mount Vernon uncle unalive his niece over a house that was left to her by her grandmother. Again, let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. To me, I'm sending homeboy all the way to Turkey. I'm sending him to Turkey. Like, there's no way that he doesn't go to Turkey regarding this. I say this all the time. There's a difference between relatives and family. Relatives find every excuse to disrespect you. If you have a nickname growing up, if you don't like the nickname, they'll find a way to call you that nickname. Like, they won't get punched in the eye because they're being disrespectful. Family finds every single opportunity to respect you. Whether if you agree with them or not, they still find ways to respect you. So the fact that he thought it was an option to take out his niece, and mind you, he did like a drive-by type of style where he pulled up her in the morning, because mind you, she was just getting off of work. She just got home. He pulled up, sprayed the car down, and rode off on his bicycle, which is nasty work. Which is nasty work. Again, another case for going to jail for life. This is premeditated. This is premeditated. And I don't want to hear second degree. This is supposed to be first degree. I'm learning criminal, like criminology and all this stuff. This is first degree murder in my opinion, because it was premeditated and he did it with the intent of receiving the property, because he thought he was going to get the property. So with her being gone, in his mind, he would be next in line to get the property. Like, all right, she going, so hey, you know what I'm saying? Now I get the house. And the house is valued, I believe, like over $600,000, which is, substantial amount of money, especially in New York, and especially if you sell that house and you move out of New York and you take your $600,000. It goes a long way in Texas. It goes a long way in Georgia. It goes a long way in Florida. It goes a long way in Mississippi. It goes a long way in a lot of southern states. A long way. So, I mean, this is nasty work. I'm sending this guy all the way to Turkey. I'm sending him to Turkey. Shout out to Keesaw, my dog Keesaw. Julia spent 17 years working at a group home, assisting people with disabilities. She was killed right after finishing her midnight shift. That's crazy. That's crazy. When I seen that, I'm like, yo, that's what I'm saying. No matter what you do in your life, life is too short. Get to that money, get to that bag, but enjoy your life. There's a balance to life. We're not supposed to spend all our time just working. Find your happiness, because you just never know, and you just never know who's hating on you to the point where they want to unalive you. So I hope the uncle gets life. I hope he gets life. That this will probably end up second degree, and they'll probably give him the maximum penalty on something like this. He could be looking at something like 55 years, 60 years in jail with second degree murder. I believe it's going to end like that, me personally. But yeah, I just think it's nasty work. I gotta send him all the way to Turkey. And the crazy thing in family dynamics, there's a lot of jealousy in family dynamics. And people do lie. They'll say, oh, I ain't jealous of you, or I ain't jealous of this. Or, you're jealous. You're jealous because you're speaking ill will, you're moving ill will. That's out of jealousy. Believe it or not, that's out of jealousy. So the fact that he went this far, it's written all over your face. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Levert. You know what I mean? That's crazy. All right, y'all. Moving on to our next segment. Y'all already know what time it is. It's time to rap. This segment is brought to you by Button Snaps, where you get the finest of movies, shows, documentaries, and original content for your viewing pleasure of $4.99. Yes, that's the word Button Snaps. That's the word button, hyphenated sign, and the word snaps.com. Again, that's the word button, hyphenated sign, and the word snaps.com. Shout out to C in the building. Appreciate you for tapping in, brother. Who the F? Yo, don't come in here disrespecting. Don't come in here being disrespectful. I'll hook you up with some nice smooth tickets to the block party. Don't come in my house talking crazy. Come in here with some respect, young man. All right? Watch your mouth. I'm not one of your little play friends. Watch your mouth. I'm probably old enough to be your pops. Watch your mouth. If you're here to support, support. You coming to my house talking crazy, I'll hook you up with some tickets to the block party, because on no way on this planet you will see me in person and talk crazy like that. So keep it cool, keep it humble, and keep it respectful. All right. First hot topic of the night. CNBC lists their top 10 worst places to live in the US of A. Coming in at number 10, it's Arkansas. Coming in at number 9 is Oklahoma. Coming in at number 8 is Alabama. At number 7, Missouri. At number 6, Utah. So those are the from 10 to 6. Again, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Alabama, Missouri, and Utah from 10 to 6. I've been to Oklahoma. I've been to Alabama. I've never been to Missouri. I've never been to Missouri. I've always heard negative things about Missouri. But I do want to go to a Chiefs game. But actually, the Chiefs is moving to Kansas, the state of Kansas. So I may not be able to go to Missouri. One of my dogs that moved to Missouri, I'll probably still pull up to Missouri anyway. He out in St. Louis. Shout out to my dog, Jay. I've been to Utah before. Utah is not somewhere. Yeah, it's like, yeah, let's go to Utah for the weekend. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, okay. So now the top 5 of this list. At number 5 is Georgia. Number 4 is Louisiana. Number 3 is Indiana. Number 2 is Texas. And number 1 is Tennessee. I'm surprised to see Tennessee number 1 on this list according to CNBC. Reason being is because if you know about Tennessee lifestyle-wise, you can have a decent quality of life in Tennessee when it comes to your home purchase power. You pay no state tax in Tennessee. And Tennessee is not necessarily a cheap place to live, but it's cheaper. If you're from New York, if you're from anywhere in the East Coast, that's East Coast, but if you're from anywhere up north, Tennessee, and mind you, Tennessee is right next to Virginia. So no state tax. You get a nice, big, cheaper house. Hey, yo, I don't know, man. But Tennessee is very city-based, in my opinion. Nashville is different from Memphis. Man, and that's why I believe Tennessee is number 1, because believe it or not, Memphis crime rate is through the roof, unfortunately. Unfortunately, Memphis crime rate is through the roof. But you have a lot of greatness that come out of Memphis, though. A lot of greatness. But when you think about Nashville doesn't have the same doesn't have the same crime rate, mainly because the money is in Memphis, right? The sexy well, I don't want to say the sexy, but the allure is is Nashville. And you can't mess the money up. So to give a comparison, right? New York City, right? When you think of New York City, you think about the boroughs. When it comes to Memphis, it's like Brooklyn or the Bronx, right? Where it's very thorough. That's not somewhere you want to go to live for real, but you do have nice places in Brooklyn. Just like you got nice places in Memphis, but you got some ghettos in Memphis. That's crazy. Just like Brooklyn, just like the Bronx. Believe it or not, there's some really nice places you can live in the Bronx. But there's some real crazy places you can live in the Bronx. Same thing with Brooklyn. Queens is nice. Probably 75% of the areas in Queens is nice. Bronx and Brooklyn is probably 40, 60, 40 being nice, 60 being crazy. Manhattan is the Nashville, or Nashville is the Manhattan, where it's the allure, where it's the sexy, where it's the, the big buildings and all this touristy stuff, right? And that's the money. So that's why I think of Tennessee regarding why Tennessee is high on this list, because you don't think of Nashville when you think of Tennessee for real. You think of Memphis and you think of all the high crime in Memphis. And I think it's mainly because there's no sports teams in Memphis. No, the Tennessee Titans, no, they in Nashville. Tennessee Titans is in Nashville, but you don't hear NFL players not wanting to go to Nashville. You hear NBA players not wanting to go to Memphis. So I just always found that quite interesting. Shout out to Keesaw in the building. CNBC says Tennessee and Texas are the 2 worst places to live in America, yet the National U-Haul moving data says they are literally at the top of the list where people are actually relocating. Like Texas in itself, because Texas is number 2, right? Texas in itself, again, it's the quality of life. And that quality of life is not just your home or your condo, right? It's not just how price effective that it is. It's everything that's around it, right? You can enjoy the amenities, right? In Brooklyn or New York, there's like a thing with parking, right? The average block in New York City, the space from one car to the next is literally like this. And as a New Yorker, you have to learn how to park with very little space, right? And it's just a thing. And even in small streets where streets are designed for basically like one cars, you still find people that are completely inconsiderate and double park. So you find people that could squeeze through between cars without hitting each other because everybody's in a rush, right? So it's just one of them things, man. So Texas, that quality of life, you don't have to worry about squeezing through. There's parking everywhere. Um, the things you could do in Texas, right? Enjoy a good barbecue, a good cookout. There's several sporting events year round. There's several music concerts and music awards all year round in places like Texas. So I'm surprised that Texas is at number 2. Me personally, I'm very surprised on that because there's a lot of people that is moving to Texas. Indiana, I'm not surprised about Indiana being third on this list. Nobody really wants to move to Indiana for real. Indiana came out with a thing where they actually giving people money if you move to Indiana, but you have to do a particular job. I would get the particular job. If you do a particular job, the state of Indiana would give you money for being a new resident, and I believe it's for 4 years. If you are a new resident, and for every year up until the 4th year, they give you money just for living in this particular area in Indiana. So I'm not surprised that Indiana's on this list. Louisiana, I'm not surprised Louisiana is on this list, even though I have the best time in the world in Louisiana. I frequently go to Louisiana. Frequently. I go to New Orleans. Frequently. And I have me a good time. And the locals always tease me. They like, yo, why do you like it so much here? It's dangerous. It's crazy. It's always a lot going on. And I was like, for me, I don't see none of that. I'm born and raised from Brooklyn, New York. Old Brooklyn, might I add. And even though Louisiana does get rowdy, the energy of the people is honestly genuine and inviting. Like obviously there's scammers all over the place, but they like the people that I met and built a relationship with all are genuine, cool ass people. But the quality of life there is not great. It's somewhere I love to go visit. And if the quality of life was better, I would actually move to Louisiana. But the quality of life on them damn levees, man, you just never know when it's gonna be underwater. It's like that's to me, that's numero uno on my list when I see this at number 4. Because they have great, great shopping areas. They got the community of brothers and sisters. And when I say brothers and sisters, y'all know what I mean, because we're not black, we're not dirty, we're not muddy people, we're not 3/5 of a person or a human being. And that's the meaning of black. And we're not that. So with that being said, it's a beautiful culture there in Louisiana. It really is. And there's a whole bunch of rats in Louisiana too. Like literally it's a whole bunch of rats. And I know that came from the flooding and breaking up the properties, but it's a whole lot of rats. But outside of that, Louisiana is a great time, great food, a lot of things to do in Louisiana. So, hey man, I'm not surprised that it's on the list, but Damn, like I bangs with Louisiana. Fifth on this list is Georgia. I've been to Georgia several times as well. I've been to Atlanta in particular, Macon, Georgia, Savannah, Georgia, Tiffin, Georgia, Valdosta, Georgia. So I've been to several places in Georgia. Georgia is a like if you can buy a house in Georgia that's so fire, and it will be so cheap on top of that, and it has presentation. You know, it has a wraparound driveway. It has the big gates. I mean, you can get some fly stuff in Georgia, especially if it's not necessarily city based. So I'm kind of surprised that Georgia is on this list. But I do know the crime rate is high in Georgia though. It really is, especially in Atlanta. I do know that for sure. Uh, And again, I already said Utah, Missouri, Alabama, Oklahoma, and Arkansas rounding out the rest of that. I've heard Oklahoma and Arkansas crime rate is just as high as Missouri. It's just a much poorer version of it. That's what I've heard. And again, all of these states have rich areas, right? But that's like the red line. You got the rich areas where the crime doesn't exist. You better not bring that over here. And then you have the struggle where all the crime exists and it's crazy and it's impalpable. So again, I'm not surprised at this list. Again, CNBC released the top 10 places, the top 10 worst places to live. Again, number 10 is Arkansas, Oklahoma at number 9, 8, Alabama 7, Missouri, Utah at 6, 5 is Georgia, 4 is Louisiana, 3 is Indiana, 2 is Texas, and number 1 is Tennessee. So I'm surprised at Texas being on this list. I'm surprised. All right, y'all, moving on to our next hot topic. And again, y'all hit them likes, hit the 100s. It does help with the growth of the show. And shout out to all of those who saluted me for my birthday, showed me love on my birthday, gave me great birthday wishes. My birthday was actually yesterday, July 18th. And again, I appreciate all the love that y'all giving your boy for my birthday. All right, y'all, moving on to our next hot topic on this list. Top 10 NFL wide receiver list has been dropped according to the coaches, scouts, and executives. Again, NFL has dropped the top 10 NFL receiver list, again, according to coaches, scouts, and executives. So coming in at number 10 is Davante Adams. Coming in at number 9, A.J. Brown. Coming in at number 8, Nico Collins. Number 7, George Pickens. Number 6, CeeDee Lamb. 5, Amon-Ra St. Brown. At number 4, Puka Nacua. Number 3, Jackson Smith-Njigba. At number 2, Justin Jefferson. At number 1, Jamar Chase. Let me know what y'all think about that in the chat about the NFL top 10 receiver list. And again, this is according to the coaches, the executives, and the scouts. So again, let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Again, let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. So let's go through it. So they got Davante Adams at number 10. I'm not mad at that, but to me, he's only a top 10 receiver if he's healthy. If he's healthy. Davante Adams has been a great pro. He's been a great all-time receiver, to be honest with you. When healthy, he is a franchise guy and a high-level franchise guy. But the last couple years, I haven't been overly impressed with the way he played. He had a decent year last year, but this is only if he's healthy. And there's no disrespect, but he's not the number 1 receiver on his team. So the fact that he's at number 10, I believe that's a bit high. But when healthy, that's a very hard argument to make against it. So coming in at number 9, A.J. Brown. I don't think his production matched top 9 or top 10 receiver. That could change, obviously, because he's on a new team. He's with the New England Patriots, and more than likely, with that new energy, new team, new quarterback, he probably gonna go crazy this year. He's probably gonna go crazy, and by the end of this year, it's gonna be well deserved of a top 10 receiver. Nico Collins, again, my fellow Michigan brother. Um, this is all dependent if he's healthy. If he's healthy, then yes. If Nico Collins was playing in the playoffs last year, the Texans probably would have won, because their defense is a sight to behold. Um, so I think they do win with Nico Collins, but he has to be healthy. He has to be healthy, and he doesn't finish seasons healthy. But game to game, in season, he's definitely a top 10 receiver. George Pickens, top 10 receiver. I can't give him that. I think he's a great, exciting player. I think he's an amazing number 2 receiver. I think he's probably the best or second best number 2 receiver in the NFL right now. He's probably the second best number 2 receiver in the league. I got Devontae at number 3, George Pickens at number 2, at the number 2 second best receiver in the league. At number 1, I got T Higgins, as the best number 2 receiver in the league. But I think T Higgins is a number 1 receiver. George Pickens, I think he can be a number 1 receiver for sure. For sure, but I don't think that team wins. And it's not because of him per se, but it's just him being with the Cowboys, being with the star. He shines better being the number 2 receiver on the team. So I don't know if I could give him top 10, but his production and the way he played this past year, that's to me he played amazing this past year. I ain't gonna hold you. The boy was balling. I ain't gonna hold you. I'm not gonna hold you, but that's a tough one for me personally. But if he continue to ball out, I'm just gonna have to be like, yo, I was wrong. Shout out to who that in the chat. Shout out to we got my dog Rowan in the chat. Appreciate you, Rowan. As always, one of our day ones, one of our badge holders. Had his badge for over 2 years, one of our mods. So make sure y'all talk to me nice. And coming in at number 1, he said coming in at number 1. So you the number 1 receiver in the league? I feel you, you know what I'm saying? I got to put you on my fantasy team. You know what I'm saying? We got to get this money up, you know? Shout out to my dog Rowan in the building, man. At number 6 is CeeDee Lamb, or George Pickens' teammate. I think CeeDee Lamb could just naturally do more, but I would like to see more production from CeeDee Lamb. He is a number 1 receiver, just on the things that he can do. But I just want to see more production. I don't feel like I get enough production from CeeDee Lamb, especially when it counts. When the money ball is on the line, I gotta see CeeDee Lamb be great moving forward, in my personal opinion. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Immediately when I see him as a top 5 receiver, I said, hell no. But when you really think about it, he really is. He's an all-purpose receiver. He makes the money play on top of that. And he's been, for the better part, pretty durable. He's not 6'2", he's not a 6'3" guy, but he's been pretty durable. So when I really thought about it, I say, yo, Amon-Ra St. Brown is very solid as far as his endurance, but what he does on the field, man, he's outstanding. And he opens up the game for Jameson, the receiver from Alabama. Number 9, I think his number is. That dude is nice too. But Amon-Ra makes the game easier for the quarterback and for the other receiver. So when I really thought about it, I'm not mad at this at all. And his production match on top of that. So coming in at number 4 is Puka Nacua. I'm not mad at that. Now we get into the upper echelon of like, yo, Without a doubt, these are the top 4 receivers in the league as of right now. Puka Nacua, he's one of them. Puka Nacua is no day at the beach. If you playing around, Puka Nacua, cause stat line can easily be 13 receptions, 180 yards for 2-3 touchdowns. Easily. Easily. For other players, I'll be like, yo, I had a hell of a game. I had a career game. Puka could do that. Like, game in, game out, he can do that. If you playing around. Puka is nice. That dude is nice. He's a legit number 1. He plays big in big games. He's super duper durable. He makes the money play. And, yo, Puka he's a game changer. So I'm not mad at him being at number 4. Now coming in at number 3 is Jackson Smith-Njigba. Not mad at that at all. That the boy is nice. Without him, outside of their defense, the Seahawks defense was amazing last year. But he's the focal point of their offense. He's the focal point. You have to stop him to beat Seattle. Why? Because he makes the money plays. He makes the easy play and he makes the money plays. And the things that he does, his body control, him having ability to track the ball, and his hands, his physicality when catching the ball, it changes the game. That means he can make that 30, 40-yard, 50-yard catch, and it's contested, and change the course from being 3 and out to actually having a chance to score. So if you don't score a touchdown, you're still in line to get a field goal. This kid is money. So I'm not mad at him being at number 3. Coming in at number 2, Justin Jefferson. No debate on that. No debate on that. Justin Jefferson he's nice. Justin Jefferson is that dude. They said field goal. I said something else. I probably meant to say field goal if I didn't say field goal. When I'm on live, sometimes I'm talking too fast, but yes, field goal. If I did say field goal before talking about Njigba. But Justin Jefferson, he is that dude. He is that dude. And mind you, he's had terrible quarterback play for as long as I can remember. For as long as I can remember, his quarterback play has not been consistent. And I don't think it changes with him getting Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray can play. He's not a scrub, but he doesn't change the trajectory of a team. In my opinion, he can't take a team and make them a playoff-bound team because of his presence and his play. He could throw, he can run, scramble, but again, his presence alone doesn't say, all right, we're going to get 12 wins this year, we're going to the playoffs, and that's just what it's going to be. And he doesn't make his receivers better on top of that. But Justin Jefferson going to get his either way. Justin Jefferson is like that, and I can't imagine. And see, the Vikings have really fumbled the bag. The only thing that they can really do is give Justin Jefferson more money. But at some point, as he's getting his money, he's going to demand a trade. Because y'all not taking me serious. Y'all not getting me a quarterback that will really get me the ball. And that's going to help me elevate my game. I can't imagine if my Chiefs just had it in them to trade for Justin Jefferson. Can you imagine Justin Jefferson as a Chiefs? Can you imagine, or Chief, can you imagine Patrick Mahomes throwing Justin Jefferson the ball? Can you imagine that? I can see it. I see it right now. Andy, make the call. Andy, make the call. I can see it right now. We haven't had a number 1 receiver since Tyreek Evans left. Let's keep it real. We haven't, after Tyreek left, Tyreek Hill. After Tyreek left, we've never had a number 1 receiver. We had a whole bunch of 3, 4, and 5 receivers. I'm just keeping it a buck. Our receivers now, even though they have talent and they have potential, let's keep it real, they would be number 3 receivers on most teams. We still don't have a number 1 or number 2 receiver. Still. Make the call. Justin Jefferson is the one. So Justin Jefferson is that dude. He's easy. He can easily be the number one receiver on this list. But number one is Jamar Chase. And I think mainly because Jamar gets the number one is because we see Jamar do more run after catch. And I think that's the major divider. I don't think Jamar is a 10 and Justin Jefferson is a 9. I think Jamar is a 10, Justin Jefferson is a 10, but we see more run after catch out of Jamar based on the system. And we see more contested specialists or 50-50 or great route running from Justin Jefferson. The acrobatic catches. So I'm not mad at Jamar Chase being the number one guy. I think Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase on this list is interchangeable. I think it's interchangeable, me personally. I wouldn't be surprised if Jackson Smith-Njigba took the number 2 or the number 1. I wouldn't be surprised if Puka did the same thing. Like that top 4 list could go up and down on any given year. Shout out to we got my dog Ryan in the building. Appreciate you for tapping in, my dog. Justin Max, field goal. Justin Jefferson, nice, bro. Justin Jefferson is nice, man. That's what I'm saying. I can't imagine if he had a real quarterback that's really going to get him the ball. Like, that's one thing you could say about Patrick Mahomes, bro. Whether you are number 1, 2, 3 receiver, he tell all them receivers, yo, this shit is coming. So don't be running routes not looking for the ball, bro. This rock is coming to you, dude. So be on the lookout. If he was a Chief, Justin Jefferson will go crazy. I would be smiling from ear to ear if they made that happen. But we haven't been spending money on no receivers, no corners. Anytime somebody trying to re-up on some bread, it's like, yo, hey, man, it was cool. You know what I'm saying? It was cool having you while we had you. We're going to see you around, though. Don't worry about your stuff. We're going to send it to you, though. It's cool. You know what I'm saying? We get guys going, like, especially corners. We don't have no value in corners. The last, 4 cornerbacks we've had, or 4 number 1 corners, have been Pro Bowl, All-Pro corners, and we let them all dip. Like, we have no value. We got to have value, at least in our receiver position, bro. Shout out to B. Wayne in the building. Appreciate you for tapping in. Hit them likes, hit the 100s. It does help with the growth of the show. Kyla got to stay healthy. JJ ain't that dude. Chase got Burrow. All right, so Kyla got to stay healthy. I don't think that's going to matter, bro. I think Kyla being healthy, that only helps his stats. Him being healthy, he doesn't change the team. He doesn't. Him going to the Vikings don't make them a playoff team. And that's not a diss. That's just what it is. If Kyla is healthy, do the Vikings go to the playoffs? No. No, they're going to have a hard time in their division. Their division is tough. Remember, in the Vikings division, you got Chicago. Caleb, he took that turn up, bro. Caleb, with the fingernail polish, he found his niche. And that's a problem when you're playing division guys, especially quarterbacks. When quarterbacks get comfortable in the NFL, it's a very scary thing. We've seen it with Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen. When quarterbacks get comfortable in their system, they become perennial playoff teams. He's comfortable. The Vikings is not beating Chicago. That's a no-go. The Vikings isn't beating the Packers. Jordan Love has made himself comfortable in the playoffs, even though when they get to the playoffs, he's a gunslinger. He going to take chances. He going to serve them up. He going to serve them interceptions. But in the season, he's gotten comfortable. He knows what it's like to win 10, 12, to win seasons. And he's going to constantly do that. So the Vikings got to go up against that in itself. That's not an easy thing to deal with. Chicago is on the uptick. Packers is on the uptick. They're getting used to playing the players. You got the Vikings. And what's the other team in that conference? I mean, in that division. I believe it's what's the other team in that conference, y'all? Detroit. They not beating Detroit, bro. Nah, no. They not beating Detroit, bro. They not beating Detroit. They not beating Detroit. So I don't believe with a healthy Kyler that it changes the Vikings' fortune around. He said JJ ain't that dude. JJ McCarthy is my Michigan guy. He helped us go undefeated and win the Natty. He's been struggling. He's been struggling, but he has a lot of potential. But he's not the guy right now. That is for sure. He still needs to develop. And the NFL has to start finding value in developing players. You see the guy in Seattle, he's like on his 6th team or 5th team. He continued to develop, and he helped Seattle win the championship. And he was supposed to be the guy with the Jets. And then when they really sat down and developed his game, he became a player that can help elevate a team, at least elevate the offense. I think JJ got all the tools. It's just he's not ready. He needs development. He said a tough division. Agree. That's a tough division, bro. So I think Kyler can play. I'm not saying he's garbage. I'm not saying he can't play. Kyler has a strong arm. He can scramble. He's quick. He's fast. But his play doesn't dictate wins. That's all I'm saying. It's a lot of empty calories. He could throw for 280 yards this game, throw 2 touchdowns, ran another one. He could get you a win when you don't expect much out of that team, right? He could squeeze a win, but I again, this is no diss. He doesn't elevate the team. He doesn't elevate the team. And even though he's probably more gifted than some of the other quarterbacks in that division, he's not even the best. I'd rather have Jordan Love. I'd rather have the kid from I'd rather have obviously the kid from Cal. The kid from Detroit, but he's from Cal. I can't think of his name right now. And I'd rather have Caleb Williams. Just as their play. Tough division. Chase got Burrow. Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. Like I said, I can't imagine what Justin Jefferson would look like if he had a Patrick Mahomes, a Josh Allen. I can't imagine if he had those guys. Those 2 guys in particular. Or Joe Burrow. I can't imagine if he had, because one thing about Joe, he like Pat, like, yo, don't be running these routes not looking for the ball, bro. When you run these routes, look for this ball because it's coming, bro. Pause. That sounds crazy. You know what I'm saying? But I wish Shador Sanders could get Justin Jefferson. I wish he could get Justin Jefferson because the ball is coming. Well, that's one thing about Shador. And I think that was a part of why he struggled a little bit last year because he was so used to having Travis. He would tell Travis all the time. Like, I remember watching the game of Colorado and something was going on with Travis. And Shador straight up said, yo, are you going to be able to catch this ball or not? Like, let me know something because, like, this shit is coming to you, bro. And if you can go, it's coming to you. If you can't, sit your ass on the sideline. And he made some passes last year that only players like a Travis Hunter would go out and get the rock, right? He ain't got that. The new receiving crew, they're gonna go get that ball. But the kid from Washington, Boston, he gonna go get that rock. CC needs to continue working on his hands, but he gonna go get that rock. I like the tight end. He gonna get that rock, but there's another player on that team, and I'm not gonna say his name. He don't get that rock, bro. If it's not in his, even when it's in his vicinity, he allow other teams to take the ball from him. He needed Justin Jefferson in Cleveland, but the point that I'm making, Justin Jefferson is such a dynamic player. He's that dude. And if he had him a quarterback for real, a real quarterback, I can't imagine the numbers he will put up. I can't imagine. Like even when you think of and I'm forgetting and I haven't said his name, and not on purpose, might I add, but the Rams quarterback, the kid from Georgia, Stafford, he's another one. Yo, don't run these routes not looking for the ball, bro. 3-step, 5-step, this shit is coming out, bro. If you run these routes and you don't look for the ball, bro, we gonna have a problem. I'm not throwing you the ball no more. You want the ball, right? Look for the goddamn ball. Period. Like, so I like quarterbacks like that. Yo, this shit coming, period. Yo, you better look up. Shout out to B. Wayne. Sanders has to get the ball out fast. Waiting for routes, taking unnecessary sacks ain't the answer. I disagree. I disagree. See, you gotta understand when you're playing quarterback, right? The difference is when Patrick Mahomes and the guys that we just named throw you that rock and they get it out fast. If you're the receiver and you don't do your job, that receiver will never see the light of day. Imagine being a receiver for Tom Brady and you run the wrong route. And Tom Brady threw a pick because you ran the wrong route. You see what I'm saying? The onus is going to be on that receiver to get his shit together immediately. With the Browns, you got to remember, Shador has one of the quickest releases in football. He has one of them. And when he was in college, he got rid of that ball. When you have a terrible offensive line, which he did have in Cleveland and he had at Colorado, but at Colorado, he has one of the best receiving groups. With Cleveland, he didn't have one of the best receiving groups. So there was probably there was 3 interceptions last year out of the 10 where receivers just ran the wrong route. So as a quarterback, when the game's on the line and with every pass people are judging you when you're Shador, you can't just get rid of it, bro. Because once you get rid of it, you got receivers that will literally give up on the route. And we seen it. The ball coming and he's supposed to run a post and he runs the post but stops because the ball didn't come out fast enough because you got to maneuver against the defensive line, the bum-ass, offensive line that you had last year. It's not an easy thing. Receivers are such divas, but I disagree on that. He does have to get rid of the ball faster in some instances, but I believe that's a knock on him. That's a bit unfair. There's other instances, though, that is completely fair. It's like, yo, get the ball out your hands, Shador. Even if you're not completing the pass, just take the incomplete, throw that shit away. I agree on that part. There's certain parts of the game he has to throw the ball away, but that O-line has to be better. That receiving core, I believe they drafted the right guys, but that O-line has to be that O-line. That O-line, if you do the research, was 30th in the lead, and their receiving core was 31st in the league. This was before Shador even got on the field. Before he got on the field. So, but I do agree. In certain instances, he has to get the ball out of his hands. So I do agree on that, B. Wayne. At first, I said I didn't. I don't think that's for all plays, though. But there's certain instances he does have to get rid of the ball regardless. I definitely agree. But can you imagine if you got Justin Jefferson? Can you imagine that ball is coming out? That's the point that I'm making. If Shador had a Justin Jefferson, that ball is coming out because he knows what Justin Jefferson is going to do. Same thing in college when Colorado, when he had Travis Hunter, that ball was coming out, bro. It's coming out, period. So, yeah. A shout out to my dog Ryan. He said bullshit. Brother Judge Tom Brady bullshit. Or on Tom Brady don't get rid of that ball. Tom Brady don't get rid of. Do you mean to tell me if you're a receiver for Tom Brady and you out there fucking up, that Tom Brady not gonna get on your ass? You mean to tell me you out there, if Tom Brady threw a pick and it's because the receiver ran the wrong route, you mean to tell me that receiver is gonna get all the love? Dude, he better not come to the sideline. What? You kidding me? Is that what you're saying? You can't be saying that. Can't be saying that, Ryan, right? That's a fact. We've seen it for 20-something years. You ran the wrong route, Tom Brady on that ass. If he threw a pick because you ran the wrong route, dog. And mind you, most of Tom Brady receivers was really good, but they wasn't big name guys, right? And the Patriots was able to make their love based on that, right? The only big name receiver that Tom Brady has ever had for real is Randy. I mean, Ocho Cinco went to the Patriots, but he wasn't the same version of himself by that time, in my opinion. He's had good receivers. Like Julian Edelman was a hell of a tough receiver, but we're not going to say he's in the same category as a Randy Moss, right? But he's in the same category as like the Masons of the world, the Troy Browns of the world. These are good, solid receivers, great receivers, might I add. So, yeah, Brady definitely, Brady was airing folks out. That's what I said. He airing people out. That's what I said. Brady was airing the coaches out. Like, what type of play you calling, bro? Like, what is this? You see the defense that they in? Like, they running shell, bro. Like, what are y'all doing? Tom Brady get on your ass. All right, so maybe I misunderstood that, Ryan. My bad if I misunderstood that. He said Brady was airing folks out. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Brady ain't playing about that. All right, so moving on to our next hot topic. Question. Do we hold celebrities? Let me rephrase that. Do we hold too much value in celebrities? Again, let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Do we hold too much value in celebrities? The reason why this question came up because rapper Memphis Bleek was doing a radio interview and he was basically defending Jay-Z Target deal aimed by the boycott because of the DEI rollback and basically don't give a fuck about the activist shit. Let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Again, let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Shout out to B. Wayne. He said Pats was a machine. That's a fact. The Patriots was a machine. But any team that has a serious quarterback is a machine type of franchise. Andy Reid, if you out there fucking up, you're not going to be running routes for Pat. If you out there fucking up, you're not going to be running routes for Josh Allen. They getting you up out of there, bro. Can't have that. So any team that has a serious quarterback, they get you up out of there, bro. That is a fact. Shout out to B. Wayne. He going in the chat, man. Appreciate y'all. Remember, y'all, hit them likes, hit the 100s. It does help with the growth of the show. Again, thank y'all for all the birthday wishes. My birthday was yesterday, but again, y'all know how we do. This is a birthday weekend, so again, appreciate that love. And again, we on the road to 20,000 subscribers. We're a little over 14. If this is your first time tuning in and tapping in, I'm Ashley Lovechild. Can the Brothers Get a Rap podcast, and we are on episode 276, which is a lot of damn episodes. So yeah. So again, let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Do we hold too much value in celebrities? Again, Memphis Bleek defending Jay-Z via Target deal aimed by the boycott over DEI rollback, and don't give a fuck about activist shit. Again, let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Again, let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Me personally, we damn sure do hold too much value into celebrities. Us as a culture, when I mean by culture, I mean us as the brothers and sisters. Y'all know what I mean by brothers and sisters. I don't like saying the word black because that's not what we are. We're not 3/5 of a person or a human being. We're not dirty. We're not muddy. We're not dark. We're not nasty. If you look up the word black, these what these mean. We're not none of that shit. These are words that they gave us anyway. But as our culture, we hold too much value in celebrities. Now, not to say that celebrities is not supposed to be on code, but what do this mean? In other cultures, within the culture don't get moved based on what an actor said, based on what a rapper says, based on what anybody in entertainment says. Their culture gets moved based on the people. Based on the people. And the people reflects their leadership, meaning whoever's in leadership position politically reflects the people in other cultures. Because that's how that works. Because if you're not going to do what we need you to do, you run your position, bro. Come sit down. Have a seat. We're going to get somebody that's doing what the people need. Regardless on what actor, actress, NBA player, NFL player, anything in entertainment, regardless of what they say. Cool, they feel that way, cool. But this is still happening. They either get on the pot or they get off. But either way, this shit over here is still happening. So the fact that there's so much responsibility on the entertainers opposed to the people. So you're meaning to tell me that these entertainers have more influence in your own life? Is that what you're telling me? I'm a rap artist myself. And there's no other artist, entertainer, athlete that has more influence on my life than me. Because I'm a free thinker. Than me. My parents, I got my parents' pictures behind me for a reason. I got my brother picture, rest in peace picture behind me for a reason. Because this is where the foundation come from. I'm a free thinker. And there's no way that somebody that is an entertainer has more influence on my own life or what my surrounding area needs. Now, can an entertainer be influential? Of course. As long as it's a part of my overall thing that what needs to happen amongst my personal space of where I live, my local government, and the agenda that we're doing. It could push it forward, but if they're not doing what I'm talking about, then so what? This shit's still gonna happen. So it kills me that people think that because this actor or this rapper or this athlete is not doing what the people want them to do, that this shit still don't get done. And that so much onus is on them. You have other races where when these people are not on code or choosing to do something different, the people like, all right, whatever, this is getting done. It got done. It doesn't matter. So to me, this is selective. This is, I'm basically going to pick and choose what I'm going to be mad about. That's how I look at it. Shout out to the chat. They going in the chat. Bleak accidentally spoke the quiet part out loud, but it seems it's the truth. Jay-Z has spent a decade using social media branding and the NFL partnership of black capitalism to elevate his worth. Yeah, yes and no, because believe it or not, Jay-Z was always one of the people when things happen in the neighborhood and in our communities, he would put his money up. In our communities and out our communities. So you're going to go get that check for sure, like anybody would. When you work in a position, when you work in a job, you're going to go get your opportunity. But because you get your opportunity, that doesn't mean that the other opportunity for what you're on doesn't get accomplished. And that's where the free thinking comes to play, where you have people that get so mad if this person is not on code, that it looks bad on all of us when it don't. They're an individual, just like any other race. They're individuals. But if the people were saying, yo, this is what we on, it would be nice for certain entertainers or whatever the case may be to be on code. But if they're not, it doesn't have a black eye on everybody else. And we're the only race that think like that. And that's not impactful, and that's not helping our own agenda. Nobody stops the party. Nobody. Have you ever missed a party and then later on you're like, man, you should have been there. The party was fire. The DJ played all the fire songs. All the fine girls was there. All the fine girls was there. The food, oh my God, the food was on a whole nother level. So when people say that, it's like, yo, the party still go on. And we hold too much value in celebrities and not in doing the things that we need to do within our own self. Like, if you realize in this society, it's race-based when it wants to be. It's not race-based always, because we all know that the money is the great divider. I spoke about it earlier in the show. Whether you're a brother or whether you're a white guy, whether you're an Asian guy, money is the great divider. What do that mean? That means you can have all different type of race living in the same neighborhood if they can afford it. And based on your money is how you look at life. Why? Because it matters what you do with your money. It matters. It matters the type of policies that you want for local government and national government. It matters. Taxing matters. That's why I spoke about Tennessee earlier, about having no state tax. That shit matters. And of course, when it comes to the race, you always want to be on code. You always want to be down for the righteous cause. But just because you're down for the righteous cause privately, privately and publicly. Let me better say this. Just because you're down for the cause, both privately and publicly, doesn't mean you gonna hold stake in that. What do that mean, Ash? Okay, y'all watch football, right? Y'all watch basketball, right? Everybody has a favorite team, right? Your favorite team. Yeah, we talked about the Vikings earlier. Your team is the Vikings. That's your favorite team. Y'all just signed Kyler Murray. Y'all got great Justin Jefferson. He's that dude. They have a team. You believe in them, right? Yes, I believe in them. Yes. Are you going to bet on that team every week for 18 weeks? Are you going to do that? No, you're not. So you could be a part of something publicly and privately and support it. That don't mean you're going to put money into it, because that's not a smart investment. So you can like, there's nuances to these conversations, and people make it so black and white, cut and dry. When we live in an era. What's the best word I could use for this? Of mediocrity. A whole lot of mediocre shit. We give excuses to a whole lot of mediocre shit. And then when something happens great, we're like, oh, that ain't that great. Like, dude. But we give all the love to the mediocre shit. All the love. We give all the grace to the mediocre shit. We give participation trophies. We give a trophy for somebody being mediocre. When I was a kid, we didn't get participation trophies. It's either you was good enough to get a lead award, mind you, lead awards. If you was good enough to get a lead award, if your team won a championship, you got a trophy. But if your team didn't win no championship, if you wasn't good enough as a standout at your position, then you was not getting no awards, bro. You don't get no awards because you showed up. You showed up because you wanted to. And that's a mindset that people feel like people owe them something just for showing the fuck up. Nah, bro. Nah. So again, we hold too much value in celebrities, thinking that based on what they say, based on what they do, that is supposed to stop the party. Like the party not supposed to go on. Like we're not supposed to have a good ass time at that party dance, meet a new woman, and go crazy. So we need to stop that. Like, we hold too much value into this shit. I remember Dave Chappelle has a joke, and he says, when things happen, and I'm not using Ja Rule name it, purposely, but he said this in a joke. He's like, when shit happens, it's not like he looks for Ja Rule. He's like, yo, like, somebody get Ja Rule on the phone. Like, I can't make sense of this until we hear from Ja. Like, yo, hold up, everybody. We got Ja Rule on the line real quick. Like, yo, we hold too much value in celebrities. Let them be great for what they do. Now, when it comes to the broader scale of what we feel like we need to do, because mind you, everybody don't agree with the DEI rollback, whether you're against it or whether you're for it. Everybody don't agree, and it's puzzling to me that a lot of our culture is against the DEI, but it doesn't benefit us. It never has. Do the research. It benefited white women. That's who it benefited. It didn't benefit the culture. It didn't benefit us. Do the research. Don't get hearsay information. Do the research. So it kills me that we're for things, and then and it doesn't have a real staying power because it's selective. It's selective. And the same people will still go on Amazon. Shout out to y'all in the chat. Y'all cooking in the chat, yo. Shout out to y'all in the chat. Shout out to Keesaw. Shout out to B Wayne. Hove don't give a damn. I was done when he said we moved past kneeling, talking about Kaepernick selling out shit. Well, I'll say this. The problem with the Kaepernick situation is that, to be honest with you, Kaepernick just disappeared. He made his stand and he just disappeared. And you can't stop having stake in somebody because they have a difference of opinion. Can't. Because life is complex. You're never going to completely agree with anybody. Never. No matter how much you listen to their music, no matter how much you watch their show, no matter how much you really invest into them, you're not going to ever fully agree with anybody. You don't fully agree with your parents. So what make you think you're going to fully agree with an entertainer? Whether they're actor, lawyer, it could be your best friend. You don't fully agree with your best friends. You're going to stop supporting them. If you choose to, then you choose to. But like, all of this shit is nuance based. And sometimes we so, like, we get down on something like, yo, we get mad about something. And then when we learn the ins and outs of the complexity of it, we start looking at things differently. Shout out to Keesaw. People are mad at Hov for selling an album at Target, but they still typing their complaints on iPhones manufactured under horrific. Okay, so I missed that one. Shout out to B Wayne. I'm sure, like Jordan, he does things to help behind the scenes. However, we don't hear about it as well. See, I'm more on Jordan ass than anybody. Jordan been famous, since 1984? I didn't hear a lot behind the scenes. The reason why I know the things that I know about Jay-Z is because I know people that actually was helped by Jay-Z. I'm from Brooklyn, and not like I know Jay-Z, but I know people that know Jay-Z. And I'm not saying that as a flex. I'm saying that because I know that he helped them personally. I know some of the companies that he helped personally. And some of these companies were bought out by bigger companies. I know that personally. With MJ been famous when famous like really mattered. I ain't never really hear him about, helping the community. I remember when I was growing up as a kid, I remember hearing kids losing their life because there wasn't enough Jordans in the store. What is that shit? Michael Jordan has the type of power where he could tell Nike, hey, yo, I know y'all trying to create a craze for this shit, but have enough sneakers in the goddamn store so kids don't lose their life because If it's not enough sneakers in the store, when a kid walks out the damn store with a pair of Jordans, somebody's going to rob and kill him. You don't see that. Never heard him speak out against that. I've never heard Jordan speak out really against real politics. Matter of fact, Jordan said it back in the 90s where they tried to get him to really get behind a local politician in North Carolina. He was like, yeah, I'm here to play ball. He didn't want to affect his bottom line. So again, you can support something privately and publicly. And Jordan probably have supported things privately and publicly, right? But he didn't hold no stake into it. And people are still buying Jordans still to this day. And we know this. Mind you, Jordan also made his money from jails. Y'all can look up all this information I'm talking about. He made his money, also made his money from jails, investing into jails. People still buy the sneakers. People still buy the jersey. People still buy the clothes and the cologne and everything else that he sells. So we can't have this selective support, right? And we have to realize that things are nuance based. That's all. And last but not least, the most important part of this is that celebrities, whether they're basketball players or I should say athletes or entertainers, just because they're not for or against something doesn't mean as a culture we shut down. Doesn't mean that. They are part of the culture. They're not the culture by themselves, like how we like to make it to be within our own culture. Because again, outside cultures, when other people say and do crazy shit, we don't say, oh, that looks bad on their culture. You got pedophiles, you got all types of people in other cultures. We don't say, oh, all of them is like that. We don't say that. We keep it individual based. It doesn't stop what we need to do. So we got to stop having so much value in celebrities regarding things that we need to do in our life as far as social commentary or things that's revolved around politics. The party still has to go on. Now, celebrities do matter in the space of art, in performative spaces. I know this for sure because, again, I am an artist. I am a rap artist. And our stories matter because it reflects our lifestyle and the people that was around us, our upbringing. Of course, it reflects it, but we're not the thing. The party is supposed to go on regardless of how we feel or not. The party's still supposed to go on. Even when you disagree with somebody, it's supposed to go on. Can't be selective. Shout out to B. Wayne, my dog B. Wayne. Jordan went to battle with NASCAR. I believe he won. Yeah, they won. They won in NASCAR, but when you say battle, like there's no real political agenda to battle with NASCAR. It's either you got money or you don't. But it's that simple. It's either you got the bread, pay to play, or you take your ass home. That NASCAR is about that money, on. NASCAR is about that money, and let's keep it real. Not a lot of us, for real, is trying to bust a whole lot of left turns for a living. Like, you know what I'm saying? At top exhilarated speeds. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole nother level. What do you say? Recently, got that health facility, but in Wilmington. Okay, well, salute to that. Salute to that. I'm not gonna shit on everything, but the things that I know, and again, Jordan's been around since 1984. 1984. Jordan is a part of the big three: Michael Jordan, Michael Jackson, and Mike Tyson. Uber influence. Uber. And we have selective, things of what we hold with certain people. We don't hold Mike Tyson to that regard. And Mike Tyson was one of the best ever. But why we don't hold Mike Tyson to that regard? because we realize Mike Tyson is great at boxing, and he's a human being outside of that. And it's okay for Mike Tyson to be for or against something, but there's things that I've seen Mike Tyson do. I'm like, why the hell did he do that? Mind you, Mike Tyson from Brooklyn, just like me. I'll be like, why did you do that, Mike? I don't agree with that, but it's not for me for real to agree or disagree, because he doesn't stop any of my agendas. Even though he's a pillar of Brooklyn, he's a pillar, he's a success from the streets. You can make something of yourself. All right, Michael Jackson. Ain't nobody hold Michael Jackson feet to the fire politically, because he Mike Jack. Right? But Mike Jackson was doing things in the industry that's probably the reason why I thought the movie was trash. His movie was trash, is because they didn't put none of that in the movie, on how powerful he was in the background. And the only reason why he went through the bullshit that he went through is because he was becoming too powerful. And it wasn't just in the space of music, it was in the space of the world. He owned shit. You can't own shit in a world where it's not designed you to own. And now that that company got ownership back of that, look at the type of movie we got. Who was the company he was going against? Sony. They ended up with his stuff, right? Who did the movie? Sony. Stop me when I lie, y'all. All this other shit about Mike didn't come out until he stopped buying everybody's stuff up and went and sell their stuff. Now, them same artists that were like, yo, I can't believe you won't sell me my stuff. Do you think they had that same type of disdain for Sony? They kept it real humby and went home, right? Trying to tell you. Mike Tyson. I'm not going to finish that. Don't do that to Mike B. Wayne. Don't do that to Mike B. Wayne. Don't do that to Mike. Mike a little cray, but still, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't do that to Mike. And gonna be straight. I'm not gonna finish that, B Way. I'm not gonna finish that. Shout out to y'all in the chat, man. Y'all cooking in the chat, man. Again, I appreciate the engagement and I appreciate y'all support, man. Moving on to our next hot topic. Jay-Z. A 3-day weekend, Yankee Stadium sold out 3 nights in a row. Let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Again, let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Holding value into an entertainer for what he does, which is rap and perform. Why is that important? Because we have staying power. Not we, but he. Jay-Z has staying power. But I'm saying us as a culture, we have to learn how to differentiate our roles. This is important. And I'm glad that he was able to do this, because for about the last 8 years, Jay-Z has been getting a lot of hate musically, based on his skill level, based on his music, based on his staying power. I think after what we saw recently, Yankee Stadium, there's no arguing that. You had people that will argue against people about how great Jay-Z is. And for me, being a kid when Jay-Z was active as an artist, he's still active, but y'all know what I mean, where he was trying to be great at that time. I was a little kid, and honestly, Jay-Z was always a standout musically, always. Now I've heard some music executive, he's really big on social media now, and kudos to that. And he said some things where he said Jay-Z was a late bloomer and that he wasn't able to shine with his class, which is one of the dumbest music takes I've ever heard in my life. You shine when you're supposed to shine. It's just that simple. And that's in everything. That's in everything. Regardless on who you older than or what your age group is, that shit doesn't matter. As long as you get to the place that you need to get to. So what do that mean in the real world, right? By his logic, if you don't become a doctor when you're supposed to become a doctor, then you're less of a doctor because you took a longer time becoming a doctor. That makes absolutely no fucking sense in the world. I have friends that actually became doctors after they dropped out of high school, went back to high school, got their diploma, got in the workforce with their diploma, did not like what was going on in the workforce, went back to college, went to college, took college uber seriously, got straight A's, and you're like, you know what? I'm going to become a doctor. They became a doctor, and now they're one of the best in the field. After they did their, they actually got their medical degree, they did their residency, and these two people are some of the best people in their field, period. And they did this later than some of their peers. So by his logic, just because somebody takes a few extra years, as long as you become the highest of the high, that's all that matters if that's the goal. That's like being an athlete, and because of your draft class, okay, he didn't pop off right away. He wasn't the dude right away. It took him 4 years to develop, but he's at the top of the league now. So because it took him 4 years to develop, but he's at the top of the league, that's a demerit? Y'all see the sense that I'm talking about? That makes no sense. So when he spoke on Jay-Z saying that it took him longer to be the guy or whatever the case may be, so what? So what? Like, in the real world, as long as you get to where you're supposed to get, that's all that matters. And this is how you know Jay-Z is great when it comes to music. Again, we're keeping it music-based. All, not some, all top-tier lyricists, all top-tier lyricists in hip-hop give Jay-Z the credit as a top-tier lyricist, period. In all forms of hip-hop, whether that's battle rap, whether that's independent, or whether that's major. Well, all music basically is a form of independent now, right? But y'all get the point that I'm making. All top-tier lyricists, all top-tier lyricists that other people revere, look at Jay-Z as a top-tier lyricist. Why is that? Because he is a top-tier lyricist based on what he has said in his music. Based on the style, how he did it, how he switched it, how he had it one way, then he did it another way. So it's that loser mentality when somebody tell you, if you don't do something by this time, then hey man, you ain't gonna get the full credit. Huh? What? So you mean to tell me if I don't buy a house before I'm 30, I'm trash? But I got a house though at 31 or 32 or 34 or 35, shit at 40, at 45. Doesn't matter, you got a house. And you're able to turn that into equity and be able to build on that and turn that into hardcore cash. So you're not as lit because you have a house opposed to somebody that could never get themselves a house. We're not talking about people that could afford a house and choose not to get one. We're talking about people that can't get a house because they can't get a house financially. Or they have bad credit. But that mindset alone is idiotic. Terrible music take. Based on him as an artist and him being able to sell out shows the value on him as an artist. Because if you look in the crowd, it was a lot of us in the crowd. And mind you, it's New York City. Hov is from Brooklyn. And we showed up and showed out. Mind you, if you've seen the crowd, it just wasn't New York City in the building. It was people from other states that flew in to the Jay-Z concert. I know dudes that's from Florida. From Florida, born and raised. went to the Jay-Z concert in New York City at Yankee Stadium. That is an absolute fact. Period. So when people talk about influence in their music and the fact that Jay-Z had just sold out, put on a great show, might I add. They had a little thing with the security situation, and it delayed one of the shows, I believe. I believe it was the last show, and that's the reason why he called the show Extra Ending. But within that show, they made sure that it was, the collaborations was up, and like it was a fire show. Majority of the people that I seen on TikTok, YouTube, that had clips, reactions for the show, majority of those people said that that was one of the best concerts that they ever seen. Period, hands down. So the fact that Jay-Z could still put on a show the way that he had for the 30-year anniversary for the Blueprint album shows his staying power. Shows his staying power. Shows his skill level. And showed the fact that he got hits. I remember, again, as a kid, I've seen this as an adult. Jay-Z had a B-side concert. Just his B-side. What do that mean? His B-sides meaning not his hits. Anything that's not a hit. And he did a B-side concert, and that was fire. So people don't understand how huge the amount of songs that Jay-Z has had and has accumulated in his career that is just next level. So again, shout out to the chat. Y'all going in the chat. I'm going to see. Shout out to Maria. We got Maria in the building. Shout out to Maria. How are you doing, sir? Just got home from the World Cup. My album's finished. Congratulations to Maria. She just finished her album. Appreciate you, Maria. Hit them likes, hit the 100s. It does help with the growth of the show. We went to all three, New York. It was awesome. Loved every day. Went with my sister. Everybody's been telling me it was a fire show. The only people I've seen maybe a couple of posts that had issues getting in, and then when they got in, it was just a lot going on. But outside of that, everybody said the show itself was fire. Shout out to Keesaw, my daughter Keesaw, breaking the all-time Yankee Stadium paid concert record on Friday night, and then literally breaking that same record. That's crazy. A shout out to a brother in the building. Appreciate you for tapping in, bro. I scrolled here and thought it was. Alright, shout out to you. Hit them likes, hit them 100s. He says I'm not trying to be funny. Okay, appreciate you. But appreciate you. Shout out to Keesaw. You're on record again on Saturday with 832 tickets. Is unhinged behavior. No one else is doing this decade in their career. Hove pointed out on stage that night, one crowd, 44,000, completely outnumbered the 43 copies sold. Reasonable Doubt sold in its entire first week in 96. Absolute full circle poetry, the GOAT. That is absolute fact. Can you imagine that? He sold more tickets in the first night than he did the first week of Reasonable Doubt when it first came out. When it was officially released, I should say. Can you imagine that? And people kill me when it comes to selling albums. 43,000 copies in 1 week. That's a lot of albums. That's a lot of albums. You got the top tier artists don't do 43 albums a week today in their first week. Top tier artists, you've heard them move about like 600-700 units in their first week today. I kid you not. So his staying power is just unbelievable. Musically, I'm going to see Chris Brown and Usher next. Yeah, I mean, Chris Brown and Usher, I know would do a great show. They got a lot of great music. But Jay-Z himself, salute to him. He's always put on for the hip-hop community. Musically, musically, I hate the one thing I hate about hip hop is that we feel like we have to diss somebody to give another artist a whole bunch of respect and adulation. When people are great, they're great and they deserve to be great. When they're legends, they need to be legends. And you still need younger people to go after their records, right? That's just the nature of any type of competitive space. But you don't have to diss somebody to give somebody else love. And I hate that in hip hop that we do that so frequently where we feel like, all right, well, this is the new guy and this new guy is better than this guy. It's like, yo, no, that older guy is great. If it wasn't for that older guy, there wouldn't be this. There wouldn't be this. If it wasn't for NWA, if it wasn't for Uncle Luke, we wouldn't have the music that we have today. Being able to say the things that we say today. Without those two as artists. So what are we going to say? Oh, because we like another brand of music more than their music, that they're better? No, because they're legends. Legends is always going to be legends. Even if somebody is technically better, that still comes off very disrespectful. They're legends. And legends, in my opinion, don't have to be relevant. They're always relevant. A legend is always relevant. He doesn't have to do the everyday shit to be a legend. Shout out to Maria. Maria, she was just on tour with New Edition. I slap juice out of somebody if somebody say New Edition not relevant. They don't have to be. They New Edition. They're greats. They're legends. I'm dead serious. They don't have to do anything to be relevant, to get fans. They got fans. They've been performing since the goddamn 80s. Selling shows out. What we talking about? Legends is always relevant. So I hate that we feel like we have to diss an older artist or another artist to give somebody else props. I just don't like that in our culture. So shout out to Jay-Z selling out Yankee Stadium 3 nights in a row for an album that came out 30 years ago. An album that came out 30 years ago. Not many artists can do that in their own city, in their own state. They can't. Not many artists can do that in their own city and state. Not many artists can even do that in New York City. Period. In a genre that was supposed to only last for about 10 to 15 years. And 30 years later, he's selling out Yankee Stadium. And honestly, I believe if he would have had 3 more nights of shows, I think that would have sold out too, in my opinion. Because the word got around that it was a great concert. And what do we love as music lovers? We love a great concert. It was fire. All right, I'm going next week. In New York, New York is not the type of place where you pre-order your shit. It's not a pre-order type of city. It's a walk-up city. It's a walk-up city. Oh, this is going on tonight? We in there. We outside. So the fact that he was able to do that in the music space says a lot about Jay-Z and his staying power. Shout out to Little G in the building. Appreciate you for tapping in. I'm an independent artist. Could you play my music? I don't play live music on my pod. I don't do that here. But shout out to you. Appreciate you for tuning and tapping in. Shout out and show love to Little G, y'all. Shout out to Little Gus. Appreciate you for tapping in. I don't know. Maybe I might do that one day. I might do an episode where I play like some of y'all music. But one thing I won't do, I won't get hit with strike or targeting. So if you ask me to play some music, it has to be unreleased and it can't be on any platform. And your production can't be on any platform because I will not play it. I won't risk getting a strike for nobody. So if you have that, your original beats, some dope music, I may do a play episode where people play their music. For sure, I have no problem showing love at all. I'm from Brazil. Shout out to you. Shout out to Brazil. We got Brazil in the building, man. Shout out to Brazil. Hit them likes, y'all. Hit them 100s. It helps with the growth of the show. If that's your first time tuning and tapping in, again, I'm Ashley Lovechild. Can the Brothers Get a Rap podcast, episode 276, y'all. That's a lot of episodes. So again, I appreciate y'all support. I do drop videos daily. So hit them likes, and if you want to contact me off of YouTube, you can hit me on anything. Type in Ashley Lovechild, or my music will pop up. My social medias will pop up and come through and show love. All right, y'all, moving on to our next hot topic. Question: why isn't LeBron James highly celebrated as a Laker? Let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Again, let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Again, why isn't LeBron James highly celebrated as a Laker? Again, let me know what y'all think about that in the chat, especially for all my basketball fans in the chat, man. Me personally, I think he's not celebrated because I've seen a whole bunch of hardcore Laker fans. I know a lot of people in LA. I got family in LA. I do go to LA often as well. And the consensus have been, I just don't feel like it's appreciation for LeBron James or what he's done for the Lakers in his tenure. He's a champion with the Lakers. Now, mind you, some people will call the COVID championship an asterisk, but it's still a championship. You still got to give him credit. He went out there and won. All the other teams went out and played. All 30 teams went out and played for the championship, and they didn't succeed. Now, is that championship an asterisk? I'm not going to necessarily give it an asterisk, but that particular type of championship was probably the easiest championship for the best player. What do that mean is when you go to the gym or when you go to the local Y, the best team normally has the best player in the gym. Regardless. COVID championship, you wasn't traveling. Everybody played in the same gym. So if the best player is on one team, chances are that team will win. But I'm not going to give it an asterisk because you still have other teams going after that championship. So me personally, I give LeBron James his credit. And I'm not a LeBron James fan, but I give him his credit. But I've noticed that majority of the fans on the Lakers from Laker Nation, there's not even a thing that LeBron James is leaving. Like when he left Cleveland, like that was a thing. Like, yo, he left Cleveland, like with the F, like, why you leaving type of thing. When he left Miami, it was like a thing. Like, yo, why are you leaving Miami, bro? But with the Lakers, you don't see, damn, we lost LeBron James. And I don't know, maybe it's personality based because I never felt like he was revered with the Lakers. And mind you, the Lakers got a long history. They have several players that define that franchise, such as Mamba, such as Magic Johnson, such as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Even though Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is not a born and raised Laker, he was, traded to the Lakers, but he was still revered as a Laker. I just find it interesting for LeBron James being a top 5 player ever. Like, I won't respect anybody if they don't have LeBron James in their top 10. I can't respect your basketball knowledge if he's not at least in your top 10. Top 5, I can get it but not get it, but cool. I'm not mad at it at the same time. But if he's not at least in your top 10, for a guy to be that good, that great, and not to be revered, mind you, he gave the city a championship. And mind you, before LeBron got there, the Lakers was ass. They was ass. They was very young. A lot of those players on that young Laker team became good players. But they was ass. And he brought the city a championship. So I just don't understand it, but I believe more so that it's probably personality based on why he's not revered as a Laker. And mind you, I feel like LeBron goes out there and play hard, but for some reason his sweat equity doesn't count like a Kobe and like some of the other players that was Lakers. So shout out to the chat. Shout out to CC. We got my dog CC Motions in the building. Appreciate you for tapping in. Hit them likes, hit them hearts. Helps with the growth of the show. My brother Ash. My bad, I'm a bit late. It's all good, my G. You already know. Just engage, and you already know the business. Magic. Shout out to Keyshaw. Magic, Kareem, Shaq, and Kobe are the Lakers. LeBron was just a rental who happened to win a ring. See, that's what I'm saying. People look at Shaq as a Laker. He's revered as a Laker. But he played more years with the Orlando Magic. He played more years with the Orlando Magic. I think Orlando retired his jersey too. But he's revered as a Laker. He won championships with the Lakers though. He's revered as a Laker. His personality, it hit the people, right? Kobe Bryant, his personality, it hit the people. Magic is when I think of the Lakers, the face I see is Magic. Like he's the personality, bro. Like so like it resonates with the people. So at the end of the day, you still gotta respect it though. It's still a chip is a chip. True Laker fans never saw him as one of us. He didn't come to LA to build something from the ground up. He came at the age 34 to build his Hollywood media empire. Even if he was there to build his Hollywood media empire, you can't say he wasn't there to build the team because the team was ass. Their team was ass when he got there. They wasn't going to the playoffs. They was ass. Mind you, this is like, I believe LeBron got there, 3 years after Kobe retired? They was ass. They wasn't good. So to me, you got to give some sort of respect to that. Me personally, Ash, I want to pick your brain a bit. Prime Floyd versus Prime Crawford. Who you got your money on and why? I'm gonna answer that in a second. A shout out to my dog Ike Love. LeBron will always be a key player on any team. I agree, bro. But there's a difference between being a key player and being revered once your time is up, right? LeBron James is LeBron James, but is he revered? He's revered, in my opinion, with obviously the Cleveland Cavaliers. He was revered as a Miami Heat. He's not revered as a Laker, which is interesting because he won a chip there. So I just thought that was interesting. Yeah. Shout out to Tandy for being weird. I don't swing your way. I appreciate you tapping in. But men don't say that about other men, bro. I know that for a fact. You don't have a picture up of yourself, so you have no confidence in yourself. That means you won't leave your girl around me because you don't have any confidence and she will get scooped. I'm old enough to fuck your mother, to fuck your big sister, your big auntie, your big niece. I'm 42 years old and I could take down your whole household that's old enough. So, men that have motion don't say that to other men that have motion. So shout out to Tandy. Appreciate you for tapping in. Hit them likes, hit them hearts while you're here, man. Appreciate the weirdness. Going back to my dog Cece, he said, so I'm going to answer Cece's question. He said, who you picking between Prime Floyd and Prime Crawford? I'm going to go Prime Floyd. Crawford would easily be the hardest fight Floyd has ever had in his life. And Floyd had fought some monsters. Floyd is so good, he made great fighters look average. That's how great Floyd was. And young Floyd had power too. Old Floyd had a little power to him too, but young Floyd had power. Pretty boy Floyd, oh, he mixing it up. Crawford is a tactician. Crawford is a hell of a fighter. He mix it up. But I will go with Floyd. Overall, I will go with Floyd. But that would be an epic fight. That would be a fight for the ages. That's one thing that music has that sports doesn't have. And I love that shit, mainly because I'm an artist, right? But in sports, you wonder what it would be like if LeBron went against Jordan, or if Crawford went against Floyd Mayweather. We don't worry about that with music. We don't. Because if a younger artist got smoked with an older artist, you know what I'm saying? Just dial phone. Just say something. Say something, you get some, right? Say something, you get some. You don't have to wonder who's better if it's Drake, even though I don't have Drake talent wise high up there. He makes great songs. He has a team of writers, and he knows how to make a great songs. But lyrically, we don't worry about if he's better than a Jadakiss, Jay-Z, Nas. We don't worry about that, right? Because if we really had to worry about that for real, he gonna say something, they gonna say something, and it's gonna be back and forth. That's what I love about music. You don't have to worry about who's better because we know who's better, right? So yeah, that's the comment. I think I will have to go with Floyd on that. Shout out to Ike Love. Shout out to CC. But Ash, LeBron did. He did want to trade. Hello, but Ash, LeBron did want the trade. That young core, no lie. I mean, he didn't play with them the whole year of 2020. Yeah, but at the end of the day, he still went. He still went to that team, and regardless if he played with that young core or not, LeBron James changes the team, whether they're going to the playoffs or to the championship. When you have LeBron James on your team, you're automatically going to win 50-some games, and you have a spot in the playoffs, and you're going to fight for the right to play for the championship. And he did that. So me personally, I give LeBron James credit. I give him credit. Mind you, I'm not a LeBron James fan, but y'all got me defending this man like I'm a fan. I'm not a LeBron James fan, but I'm giving him his just due. Like, he's earned the right to be revered, in my opinion, as a Laker. Me personally, I'm not saying his jersey should be retired as a Laker because he played majority of his years as a Cleveland Cavalier, and he played his his most important and best years as a Miami Heat, in my opinion. True, you got to give credit where credit is due. That's just me personally. That's just me personally. Like, you may not have to like him. You just like, yo, give him a little credit. You know what I'm saying? Like, he should be revered as a Laker as well. You know? Can you imagine if he didn't win the championship with the Lakers? Can you imagine what that conversation would be like? Oh, yeah. It's either people give LeBron James more excuses or more hype. Like I spoke about being mediocre earlier. Not me being mediocre, but society being mediocre. And we give props to people that just like make it to the championship instead of winning the championship. We give people props for just being in the room instead of actually doing something while they was in the room. Participation trophies. When I was a kid, you had to be good to get awards because they gave out lead awards and they gave out championship trophies. If you wasn't a part of the championship team, then you didn't get a trophy. If you wasn't the MVP of the league, you didn't get the trophy. If you wasn't an outstanding shooting guard or point guard or defender or in football, the best running back or the best receiver or linebacker, you did not get those awards. So we so consumed with mediocrity that LeBron James fans, is either they give too much excuses, and then on the other side of it is the polar opposite of people that just be like, yeah, nah, getting to pack him up. Where he has earned credit. He's credit due to LeBron James, but he should be revered as a Laker, in my opinion, as well. But I'm not the guy that gives him credit for being at the party and not, walking out with any girls. That's the championship. Walking out with the girl is the championship, is the point that I'm making. LeBron is crazy, debatable for the GOAT. See again, if somebody was to say LeBron James is the GOAT of the NBA, I'm not going to go back and forth on that because statistically, he has the leg to stand on. Me personally, I'm going to say hell fucking no. Because I seen Michael Jordan play when Michael Jordan was playing important basketball. I didn't see early Mike. Even though I was born in 84, I didn't see 84 to 88, 89 Mike. I didn't see that Mike. And every time I look at that version of Mike, There's nobody fucking with that Mike at all. Now, 90 or early 90s Mike, like 90, 93, nobody messing with that at all either. Because Mike learned how to win and use his athleticism as well. His play dictated wins. I seen that version of Michael Jordan. There's nobody better in my opinion. But if somebody was to say, yo, LeBron is the best, I'm not going to waste my time arguing with you. I'm not. Because statistically, he has a leg to stand on. Mind y'all, people forget, Michael Jordan retired 3 times in his career and twice in his prime. Championships do matter. It does matter. Championships matter. How do you retire twice in your prime and still have 6 chips? You got guys on their 16th year in the league that's been great all 16 years and ain't been nowhere near the chip that many times. And he did this shit in his prime. He won so much. He found a formula to win so much that he got bored with basketball. He's like, yo, let me go be ass at baseball for a couple years and then come back and win 3 more chips. He ain't doing that. And then mind you, he didn't have to go to somebody to learn the sauce. That's why me personally, I can't have LeBron James at my number 1. Michael Jordan doesn't wear LeBron James' number. LeBron James wear Michael Jordan's number. Me personally. Michael Jordan didn't have to go to another team to get the sauce. He didn't have to go play with Larry Bird. He didn't have to go play with Magic. He didn't have to go play with no other champ. He didn't have to go play with Isaiah Thomas to get the sauce. Nah, we're going to figure this shit out. Oh, working out? I got to work out? Oh, all right, cool. When they got in the gym, his body looked different. Pippen body looked different. Pause. And they got their body used to the pounding. Pause. I knew that was going to sound crazy. Same thing when we look at Wemby. Wemby's the alien. But let Wemby add a workout regimen that requires weightlifting. Can you imagine what Wemby would look like and what it would imagine Wemby with 15 pounds of muscle on his frame right now? We thought we saw something with Wemby before. We ain't seen shit with the alien if he puts on 15 pounds of muscle. Same thing with Antetokounmpo. When Antetokounmpo was skinny, it was like, oh, he's a good player, spark plug, get to the rack or to the rack. When he put on that muscle, he got him a weight room regimen. Dog. Same thing with MJ. So me personally, MJ is the GOAT. And mind you, I just got on MJ ass, pause, on what he did or didn't do outside of basketball. Right? But it is what it is. As far as basketball, MJ's the GOAT, and there's no debate. And then mind you, LeBron has played more years. So, it is what it is. But shout out to LeBron. If somebody was to say LeBron is the GOAT, I'm not arguing with you with that. He's earned the right to be mentioned in the conversation. But me personally, I don't, no. Championships do matter. When you're great, championships matter because that's the divider. When you have 2 people supposedly on the same level, that's the great divider. So, yeah. My dog Cece, Ash, would you agree that how you get... Hold on, let me go back. Let me read that again. CC 93, he said 93 Mike was tough. Bro. And you put the laughing emoji. Bro, 93 Mike was unreal. But 84 to 89 Mike was doing like Dragon Balls. Like he was just doing shit. And now when we get to 90, 91, 92, 93 Mike, now he know what he's doing. That's why you say 93 Mike was tough. Because he learned how to really win in the early 90s where his play dictate victories. He's laughing at Ash. Would you agree that how you get your chip matters too? Yes, of course. Absolutely. I don't want to make it LeBron versus Mike, but like y'all gotta realize when Michael Jordan won these chips, Isaiah Thomas was at the top of his game. The Pistons was at the top of their game. The Boston Celtics, bro, that was like an all-star team. The Lakers on the other side of that. Then you had other teams at that time. The Atlanta Hawks was tough. The New York Knicks was tough. The Indiana Pacers was tough. These were real tough teams. The Minnesota Bucks was tough. These were tough, hard-nosed teams. They just didn't run through the East. They had to make their way through the East. You see how OKC, they made their way. San Antonio, they was dogs. But of course, you know, as years go on, people forget about the players in those eras. These was the dogs of a team. And to get through that gauntlet and to beat the teams that he beat, the Lakers, that 91 Laker team, outside of the Bulls, is smoking everybody on the East. Period. Nobody was beating that team. Nobody. Not even the Pistons. I'm talking about the Pistons beat them 2 years prior to, but that 91 team was different. They built their team for beating the Pistons that year. They wasn't preparing for Michael Jordan that year. They wasn't preparing for that. So when they got to the chip, it was a whole nother ball game. They was preparing for the Pistons. 92 MJ went against the Portland Trailblazers. Yo, the Portland Trailblazers at that time was basically like their version of Golden State Warriors. They was running up and down the court. They had athletic defenders who played on both sides. I remember these teams. Kevin Duckworth, I know when they say the name, but he was a legit 7-footer that could run the floor. He was a legit low post scorer, and he could play defense in the post, and he was a big body. He was a real 7-footer, 280 pounds. They had Kersey, who was hard-nosed defender. He was like OG Anunoby, but without the superior offensive skills that OG has. But he was a defender, big body. He could play the wing. He could play the post. They even had Terry Porter, who was a bona fide bucket. Clyde Drexler, they was comparing him to MJ. They had a team, Buck Williams strong, the low post defender, run the floor, shot block. They had Clifford Robinson. Clifford Robinson was like the first of the 6'10" athletic guys who could run the floor, play wings on the outside, could defend on the post on the inside, could shoot threes, could shoot the midi. Look up Clifford Robinson. Look, Clifford Robinson was tough, bro. They had a team, and they beat that team soundly, and they bust their ass. And then they beat the Suns the very next year in 93. The Suns were smoking everybody in the NBA that year. Everybody. Charles Barkley that year won the MVP over MJ. And for good reason. Charles Barkley was busting everybody ass when he got to the Suns. He slimmed down and they was going crazy. Kevin Johnson, Dan Marley, Tim Dumas, Oliver Miller was pretty solid at that time too. They had a bona fide team, and Charles Barkley was a bucket. Nobody could stop Chuck. But they beat that team, bro. Like, y'all got it. It's crazy. It's crazy. And then, mind you, got to give credit to LeBron James, especially for that Cleveland win. But if y'all remember that series, Golden State was up. Draymond was getting the best of that interaction between him and LeBron. But he got kicked out of the rest of the game, and then he got suspended for the next game. So Cleveland won that game, and then they won the next game. And when they forced that game 7, LeBron put a performance in that game 7 that's one of the best performances ever in any finals, hands down. Hands down. Got to give him credit for that. What do you say? Shout out to Ike. No, Charles Barkley doesn't have a ring, but he's a beast. That's a fact. And it's quite a few players that would have won rings if it wasn't for MJ. Karl Malone, John Stockton, Gary Payton, Sean K. See, people don't know how good Seattle was that year too. They won 63 games that year. They smoked everybody that year. They was beating teams by 15 on average that year. Not the Bulls. Not the Bulls. They was people don't realize how good these teams was, bro. I remember these teams. Gary Payton. If Gary Payton was in today's league, he would be dogging because Gary Payton used to get buckets and he locking your ass up. And he's a real floor general. Sean Kemp in today's league, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. We have a poor man's version of Sean Kemp in this league. We have a poor man's version, which is Zion. He's a poor man's version of Sean Kemp. And what that means is Zion could be every bit as good or even better. But he plays 30 games a year. He's like, I'm going to pack this up. Sean Kemp used to be a bona fide bucket at 6'10". And he was a power forward, giving teams buckets. He runs the floor, lob threat, and he got moves in the mid-range. And he's a defender. They had Hersey Hawkins, who was a legit bona fide defender and could shoot the trade ball. You had Detlef Schrempf, who's a bona fide trade ball three-point marksman, 6'11", 6'10", 6'11", 3. He's basically like Lauren Marketing. He's basically like Lauren Marketing. Hersey Hawkins was like a version of Lou Dort, but just add the shooting. Lou Dort, his only like weakness is shooting. Hersey Hawkins could shoot that bitch. You're not leaving Hersey Hawkins open. So imagine if Lou Dort could shoot on a consistent basis. Imagine that. That's Hersey Hawkins. They had a squad, bro. People don't realize they had a squad. Steve Nash doesn't have a ring. Yeah, Steve Nash is a great player. He's a great player. He doesn't have a ring. He's a two-time MVP. CC Motion Wemby plus weightlifting. 7'4" David Robinson with a jump shot. He's laughing. It'll be over. Like, I ain't gonna hold you. Like, it was times this year watching Wemby play that it was laughable. It was laughable. Come down, twain, step back. Bro, you can't defend that, bro. You can't defend that. And he did it like a couple times. And the coach looked at the player like, yo, like, and the player looked back at the coach like, take me out then. Take me out. He's 7'4", dribble, twain, step back, like, and it's nothing but net. You come out here and defend that. I'm 7 foot and I can't defend that. You come out here and do that. Like, what you expect me to do? So him adding like a real weight room regiment on top of the things that he's doing, his skill wise, he ain't the alien yet. To me, if Wemby was to add the weight room, I'll look at him like a drag. I'll look at Wemby like the perfect cell. Like right now, he's not the complete cell. Like he done got Android 17, right? And the extra push, like he got Dr. Jerome. He got Android 17. He got Android 16, right? But he still need Android 18. Android 18 is the weight room. So can you imagine, pause, can you imagine if he get Android 18, which is the weight room, and the perfect cell, can you imagine what that's going to look like? That's going to look crazy. That's going to look crazy. Yeah, my Warriors choke, heavy pause. Yeah, but again, it just wasn't because he outplayed. Draymond was busting ass, but he lost his head and cost the team the championship that year for sure. But yeah, man, I just find it quite interesting that that we still have these conversations, and again, that's why I love the music space, because we don't need to have those conversations because we know what it is. You know what I mean? And I love that. If you notice, a lot of younger artists don't go against the older artists lyrically because they will get smoked. They will get smoked lyrically. They don't do it. And they have all the fame, all the adulation, all the support. They not getting in the arena with a lot of the old dudes because they can't. A lot of these younger artists haven't even mastered the simplicity of breath control. A lot of the artists don't even perform without their live tracks. So it's different layers to this. All right, y'all. Moving on to our next hot topic. Camp Crystal Lake Friday the 13th prequel is set to release October 15th on Peacock. Again, let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Again, let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Crystal Lake, the Friday the 13th prequel, is set to release October 15th on Peacock. Again, I would love to know what y'all think about that in the chat. Me personally, I think it's a big misstep, even though I am looking forward to the series. The reason why I think it's a misstep, because you're known for being Friday the 13th. Why not drop it on Friday the 13th? Even if it doesn't fall on a Friday. Drop it on the 13th. Because the significance of the 13th. Like, why not? Or if you're not going to do that, drop it on Halloween. If Friday the 13th don't fall on Friday for Halloween, for October, then drop it on Halloween. Because those brands are synonymous with Friday the 13th as the show. Now, the show itself, I hope it's good. I really do. Peacock, to me, does have a decent record on series. They have a good record for starting the series off pretty solid, and they have a history of, as it goes on, it's like, yeah, it's time to get rid of this shit, right? I was so excited when Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, when it was coming on, Bel-Air was coming back, and they did it in this drama fashion. The first season was fire. Second season was like, it's all right. Third season was like, yeah, we gotta tighten up. And I've yet to watch the fourth season. So I hope this is really good. I hope this have a great start. But I hope this is really good as far as the prequel. I hope they give us more than 8 to 10 episodes, because that's one of the things that I hate about our series today, is that the new standard is like 10 episodes. I hate that. I grew up in the era where our standard, series will be 25 to 30 episodes a season. Honestly, we didn't even stress seasons, back then. It was just like, yo, we got a new episode. And it felt like it always went throughout the year. So we ended up with like 25 to 30 episodes. We always had like a Halloween one, a Christmas one. Like, we always had themed episodes. So now it's like we fall into this lazy format where we only get 10 episodes. So I hope that there's more episodes, and I hope they really go in, because I have to be honest. The Welcome to Dairy series featuring It or Pennywise, they set the bar so high when it comes to great storytelling, great visuals within these type of, horror type of situations. Even Alien Earth was excellent. Alien, the only complaint I have on both shows is only 10 episodes. But again, I hope this is out of the park. I hope this will win. So I'm rooting for it. I hope it would be a great show. Shout out to Keesaw. After over a decade, legal battles freezing the franchise, seeing the official Friday the 13th universe back is making me emotional. October 15th can't come soon enough. I'm looking forward to seeing it as well. And I hope that it will be a great watch. All right, y'all, moving on to our next hot topic in Time to Rap. For my birthday, a part of my birthday yesterday, had a great time. Went to a shindig, had a great time, did a little, I don't know, right? And I found myself at the end of my birthday, like all my birthdays, going to the movies. It's a movie that I wanted to see because it did come out on my birthday or the day before, and I had to see it. The Odyssey. So this is my Odyssey review for the Odyssey. Now, I've seen other people speak very highly of the Odyssey. They thought it was one of the best movies that they ever seen in their life. That that it was just a flawless movie. Me personally, it is a great movie, well worth the watch. It was a good movie, I would say that. Not great, good. Um, well worth the watch. Go see it. The visuals is outstanding. You hear me? The visuals is outstanding. The acting, the acting is really good. There was some performances from some of these actors that was just outstanding. The new Batman, the kid that played in, or the guy that played in the Twilight series. Um, I know I'm gonna mess his name up. He did an outstanding job. He was excellent. He was excellent. The lady that played the Queen, she was excellent. Um, they had Spider-Man. He was in this too. The new Spider-Man. He was really good. There was some scenes that was like, but he was really good. He had a solid performance. John Leguizamo, outstanding. One of the best performances in the movie, in my opinion. Um, it was a couple performances that was just really good. Matt Damon. Matt Damon. I thought Matt Damon was really solid. I thought some scenes was like, woo, woo. But there was some other scenes that he nailed out the park. And it was flawless. Now, with that being said, the reason why I give this movie a hard C plus, a hard C plus, even saying all of that, saying all the great things about the movie, the reason why I give it a hard C plus is because the first act of the movie, it was uberly slow. It was slow. My goodness, it was slow. Informative, but slow. The second act of the movie was clunky as hell. They had some of the most amazing shots in that second act, though. The second act was like, oh my goodness, with the shots. But the flow of the movie was clunky as hell. It's not linear. It's not on one trajectory of the movie. It's, you know, it's present, is future, is present and is past. But it was very clunky. You had some scenes that, yeah, you could have cut that out the movie and we would have got the point. Or you could have cut this scene a little shorter and we would have got the point. But that third act is the reason why I give it a C plus. Because that third act was an A plus. It was an A plus plus. That third act was an A plus plus. It was terrific. How they, and the whole purpose of the movie, without spoiling it for y'all, it's something that's supposed to be done. And in the first act, they're trying to set it up. And the second act is super clunky on how they get to the third act. But once they got to the third act of the movie, it was popping. It was popping without ruining it for y'all, without spoiling it for y'all. It was popping. That third act, A plus plus. Is the Odyssey worth the watch? Yes. It was 3 hours long. And I felt that 3 hours in the first two acts. In that third act, it was like, nah, it's cool. It's cool. We good now. We good. It's cool. It was outstanding. That third act was outstanding. That acting was flawless in that third act. The storyline in that third act was flawless. And the visuals and the I'm missing a word, but just the ending of that movie was just chef's kiss. So I give it a hard C plus. Again, that beginning was slow as hell. The second act was very clunky, and the third was outstanding. Shout out to all the actors that was involved in the movie. Did a great job. The director did a great job with the visuals, but again, like I said, my grade is my grade regarding on the movie flow. It is what it is. They did change some things regarding the story in itself. If you know about the story of the Odyssey story, they did change some things, and they made certain symbols very prominent. And if you're paying attention, it tells you the movie without trying to make it obvious. So, but go see the Odyssey. It's worth the watch. It's a good movie. That third act. Honestly, that's the type of movie I will watch just for the third act by itself. It was that third act. Once they got to the farm, that's not telling the movie, y'all, because there's a whole bunch of farms in the movie. But once they got to a particular farm in the movie, for those who've seen it know what I'm talking about, once they got there, it was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What's going on here? What am I watching? So make sure y'all go tap into the Odyssey, man. Yo, I appreciate y'all for tuning and tapping in, man, each and every Sunday, each and every Wednesday at 10:30. Y'all support is just, y'all don't know how much it means to me. As this episode 276. That's a lot of episodes, y'all. And continue to support. We're on the road to 20,000 subscribers. We're a little over 14. I drop videos daily. If this is your first time tuning in and tapping in, again, I'm Ashley Lovechild. This is the Can the Brothers Get a Rap podcast. And again, hit that like, subscribe, share button. Tap that all notification bell because I do pop up throughout the week. Also, take advantage of those memberships as well. Again, shout out to the presenting sponsor of this podcast, which is Button Snaps, where you get the finest of movies, shows, documentaries, and original content for your viewing pleasure of $4.99. Again, that's Button Snaps. That's the word button, hyphenated sign, and the word snaps.com. And remember, y'all, do not be an agent of chaos. Do not be a stain. A stain is somebody that try to stand out by being negative. Have the ability to stand out by being positive. Lose that Willie Lynch mindset. Lose that it can only be one mindset. The only op we recognize over here is opportunity. Hate has a location. It's just not here. We celebrate life culture. And again, I love y'all all. And if you want to tap into me off on YouTube, just type in Ashley Lovechild. Everything pops up. The music, the podcast, everything. My social medias. Tap in, Instagram, all that stuff. And y'all already know, man, it's nothing but love. And I'm going to see y'all this Wednesday at 10:30. I'm out.